wrong. Gamers play, this never ends. SSL, where legends play. SSL, we fight tonight. Battles in the storyline. From the shadows to the dream, we are the SOOP StarCraft League. We are the SOOP StarCraft League. Ooh. I want to live every moment I can give. In the now I will thrive. I want to live.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the final day here of the round of 8 in the SSL, formerly known as the ASL. We got a great TVC coming up for you guys.
Yeah, that is right. It is our last Terran in the tournament going up against the player that seems to always get the round of 4, herO against Sharp. I'm hoping that it's going to be a good match. You know, we had that Rain versus Rush match that I thought was going to be the best of the round. And really, I don't think it very much delivered. And now we have this match, which I was like, this is kind of bottom 2 with the Snow Barracks match for me. It doesn't feel like one that should be super, super close. I do think Sharp's going to be a bit outmatched, but hopefully I'm wrong about that.
I think you're probably right, but it is possible that Sharp could surprise everybody here. He does look to be in better shape than ever before. Every time we're talking about Sharp at any phase of this tournament, we've kind of talked about the Sharp of the past, and it's undeniable that each match that he plays this season, he looks really strong. He looks like a very much so improved version of himself from seasons before. So who knows? We could have an upset. We've already had a lot of upsets so far this season.
Yeah, I remember this happened with Sharp once before, where he generally plays at about the same level, which is one of the best Terrans in the world, but he had this one season where he really peaked up, where he was looking super healthy. He was talking about how he was doing yoga and stuff.
Yoga? Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that too. And then he kind of, it seems like he fell out of that for a bit, but maybe he's back, Tastosis. Maybe he's doing yoga again.
I mean, it could be, man. I'm interested in seeing what type of Sharp we'd have that could take on herO, because herO does make it look easy. I think before Sulky was really dominating, we were basically concluding that herO was the scariest looking Zerg. Very tough to beat. We're in a very different era of Zerg success now. It seems to be the real cerebral Zergs that are the best. The ones that can plan out an easy mid game into a strong late game to take the Terrans out. Very different from players like the likes of Queen.
Yeah, that's actually an excellent thing that you just pointed out, but I know we're about to go to a video, so I'm not going to extrapolate on it yet. But like what you said there, I think is 100 million billion% true. But yeah, this is today's matchup, guys. We're going to jump into a quick little video and then an interview there with those players. Uh-oh. Too early, Tastosis.
Where's your video?
Where's the video?
Where's your video? Where's your video, Tastosis? Did you lie to everybody?
I lied to everybody.
Did you try to trick everybody? I don't see a video.
I made it up. Why do I think I know?
완벽하게 예측을 하고 있어서 보다 노련한 경기로 승리를 거뒀습니다.
조기석 선수의 폼이 지금 말이 안 돼요.
안정된 경기력 한 단계 더 성숙해진 듯한 이런 느낌의 플레이를
이번 시즌에 이를 낼 것 같다는 그런 느낌을 좀 받은 경기였어요.
높은 라운드에서는 공무원급으로 이름을 올리는 선수가 바로
항상 꾸준히 4강에 올라오고 있는 조일장 선수예요.
화력에선 조일장 선수가 앞섭니다.
양쪽으로 계속 소모전하면서 물량을 찍어 누르네요. 위기 순간에 이겨내면서 8강 진출 해냅니다. 8강이 7.4선승제로 변경되는 부분이 있어서 AS 시즌 17 4강 첫 번째 대결 조기성의 AS 첫 실전제입니다. 4강에서 쓰러지면 올라가지 못한 적이 굉장히 많았거든요. 7년 만에 끌어내고 올랐습니다.
Hello and welcome to the last remaining round of 8 match here at 2024 SOOP StarLeague Autumn, done in partnership with KB Live Mobile. In the third quarterfinals match that took place yesterday, Reigns scored a flawless 4-0 victory over Rush to secure the third spot in the round of 4, with the last seat up for grabs today, and it's down to Terran player sharO or Zerg player herO. Let's have a word with our two players. Hi guys. First up, sharO. You've succeeded in advancing to the round of 8 for 3 seasons in a row now, with a sound performance in the round of 16 where you took first place. I'm curious as to how you're feeling ahead of the round of 8. I'm very excited. I came here today with the mindset of a challenger, because I did lose last season, and I'm not as prominent of a player when it comes to versus Zerg. I've come with a still, relaxed mind. To do away with the pain of defeat last time, sharO says he's looking to challenge herO with his newly tempered mindset. Let's say hi to herO then. In comparison with sharO, you did not have as easy of a time advancing through the round of 16, but regardless, this is your 11th round of 8 appearance, which makes me feel you will not be as stressed here this season. 11th, you say? Yeah, I was not aware of that. Seems I've done well to make the round of 8 this much. You know, with this being a best of 7 now, it feels fresh. Things should get interesting. In the round of 16 winners interview, sharO, you said you would have to now engage with a relaxed, burden-free mindset. As things are, you are the last remaining Terran player, and with your opponent being herO, I don't see how playing without this feeling of pressure would be easy. What do you think about this? Yeah, all the Terrans are out. I'm the last one standing. Honestly, if this was the case back in the day, I would be more determined to claim victory. I would be here with a more zoned-in approach. But today, I'm just looking to play my game without any regrets. sharO is focused on his own game and not paying heed to external factors. herO, when this matchup was decided, you said this match would not be easy. But with sharO being someone you beat last season, this remark is a little odd. What made you say that? For starters, a best of 7 against Terran is not easy. And the maps this season are tougher for me than the ones last time, which makes me think it won't be easy. But because sharO is saying he's not as zoned in, not as determined, I think it's rather a good thing. I, who has made the round of 8 11 times, am more determined than sharO. Is that what you're saying? Well, sharO is saying he's looking to play relaxed, right? So, I guess. Right. Well, I keep mentioning it that the last time these two played against each other was 6 months ago, on the 15th of April, in the round of 4 of the preceding season, where, despite sharO taking the first map, the power shifted in the favor of herO for the following sets as he took the series. herO is saying compared to then, your determination is different. The format is best of 7. The maps have changed. So many things that are different, which means things can go differently than they did last time. What do you think will unfold here? So that was my first time playing a best of 7 and my psyche just wasn't on point. I just fell apart on my own after winning that first set, even though herO played really well. Today, I've come prepared to engage with more focus on my mentality. Whatever comes, you will not falter. Right. Got it. Let me ask herO if he has any predictions for today's score then. It's not a prediction, but my hope is to win 4-1. That would be good. herO wants to end things quickly. What about you, sharO? I think it'll be a full set series. Very opposite predictions for this round of 8 from our two players. Can't wait for this match. Let's hear their resolutions. sharO? A lot of people once again showed up to cheer, our team members too. I'll show cool games, so I have nothing to regret. Good. herO? I prepared a lot, I'll show good games.
기대하겠습니다.
Can't wait.
멋진
Looking
대결
forward to a
기대하도록
great match from the
하겠습니다.
both of you.
인터뷰
Thanks for the
고맙습니다.
interview.
감사합니다. 네, KB
You're
리그
watching the
모바일과
last
함께하는
quarterfinals
2024
match of
마지막
KB Live Mobile
경기가
2024
여러분을
SOOP
기다리고
StarLeague
있습니다.
Autumn.
마지막 남은
Who will
4강
grab the
자리는
last
과연
remaining
어떤
round of
선수의
4
손에
spot?
들어갈 수 있을지 조기석
The match
선수와
between
조일장
Sharp
선수의
and
대결
herO
지금 바로
starts now.
만나보시죠.
All right, everybody, we're about to hop into this match. This is going to be a fun one. I think it's either going to be really one-sided and herO dominates, or it's going to be a back and forth, and I don't know, who knows who takes it. Maybe Sharp, maybe herO, but hopefully it's the latter. Hopefully it's a long back and forth series, especially after that super short one we just had.
Yeah, I think you're very, very right about that. You know, what you said right before that video didn't come up.
Before you tried to trick everybody,
yeah, before you
lied to us, you knew that video wasn't coming up right away, R2.
I just wanted time off. I just wanted to sit here quietly. But yeah, you mentioned that it seems like the more cognitive Zergs that are setting up an easy mid game into a strong late game are the ones dominating, and it could not be more true. This has actually been this really shocking thing that I've noticed literally for years, where most of the Zergs are still trying to basically kill you with Mutalisks. And the Zergs that are smart enough to just let it go to Hive are killing. And players like Sulky and herO are like just about unkillable. Like a lot of the top Terran players, like for instance right now, I mean you saw in Light's games, right? What a struggle he had. A couple years ago that wasn't the case. He was able to break Zergs wide open if they went to Defiler still. But right now, the Zergs who are sitting back and saying, okay, we'll grind with Defiler. I don't know if you knew this, Tastosis, but Terran units don't do damage under Dark Swarm. They don't do damage.
This is true.
So
I think I read that in a book somewhere.
Yeah, it's just one of my long series of ramblings about why this game is completely broken. But you can't really kill a Zerg that gets to Dark Swarm. And a lot of Zergs are kind of being silly and being like, well, I'm just going to micro with the Mutas forever. And then there's enough Marines that they don't have enough Sunkens to hold or something. Whereas you get a player like herO or a player like Sulky, I mean, they'll kill you with Mutas if you screw up, but they are totally fine getting their Lurkers out, going into that Hive. And I think that's where Sharp is going to struggle.
I really like what you said here, Tastosis. I think it's very, very true. Maybe in the past, Zergs were too busy trying to force something.
Yeah.
Because there are these moments where Lings can get in and get a surround. Lurkers can just kind of force, especially if the Marines are out of position, to be completely wiped. Maybe an overdependence on hold position Lurkers, or trying to just grind them down with Mutas, where it seems like both herO and Sulky have a much more passive play. And it doesn't mean that they won't be aggressive if they see the opportunity, but they're not necessarily programmed to try to always bring the game to that direction. We've seen a lot of games where Zergs just overextend and overdo it, and all the Terran has to do is basically deflect every attack and then eventually push out and have a pretty easy late game.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I think that Zerg is almost cursed in this way, where they actually have the best aggression. But the thing is, their late game is even better than that. So it's like, okay, well, you might kill them with aggression, but that's much easier to stop. Now you can see, by the way, herO's record here. Like, Sharp's looked good, right? 1 runner-up and 2 round of 4s. But look at this. 2 runner-up, 5 round of 4, and if you saw his round of 8s, it's, like, unbelievable. Like, the guy never falls out in the round of 16 or the round of 24. He is the most consistent player in the history of this league.
Flash has said before that he thought this might be the smartest player in the game. In the last couple years, he's looked very good. Sharp has definitely continued to put the hours in. He's had moments where he's been on top of the world, getting into a ASL finals. And he's had a couple seasons where he just dies out. But I think one of the things he's done a very good job of is every season bringing the best version of himself into the game today here. And I got to say, he looks better this season than any other season before. He's got a really tough, refined Terran. I think it's going to still be difficult for him to take herO, but let's try to enter this best of 7 here with an open mind.
We are magic in the air. We are love, we are care. We are
Okay, we've got Sharp here in the top right. herO in the bottom left. It is cross spawns.
What type of mustard yellow color is this?
Yeah, I guess it looked Sharp has gone with like French mustard. He's gone with Dijon, Terran.
I tell you, I mean, I play 5 hours of Terran a day, and I don't feel like I've spawned as this color on the ladder ever. I know some colors are like you can just kind of choose when you're in a custom game, but God, I'm going to stop choosing magenta and lime, and I'm going to find out what this mustard color is. Looks great.
I'm going to see what it's all about. A lot of people here in the studio today. Remember, this is the last day of the round of 8. After this, I mean, it's going to be, you know, it's funny. It's like, once we get to the round of 8, the games get so crazy. They're so good. But, man, it's almost sad that we're getting close to the end here of ASL. All the cool kids play Brood War. This guy knows. He's cool. He's wearing sunglasses indoors.
Yeah. Well, that's when you knew. Also, he's there live watching Brood War, which also tells you how cool he is.
That's true. In this game, Sharp has a depot here on the low ground. So it looks like he's going to plug this up with a barracks and probably set up for a very safe expand. But keep in mind, in cross spawns like this, but more importantly, the fact that the Zerg is not sharing the top of the map with him, you could try to do something sneaky here. My bet is he's just going to go for a command center, but we have seen some weird games where people will go for gas and do something kind of surprising if they can fake out, you know, the exterior of their base to make it look like an expand.
Yeah. I don't think Sharp will probably do very much of that. And, you know, I think that is... It's a double-edged sword. And I talked about it a lot with Light recently, where, like, you watch Light, and the way that he plays is, like, for most games, amazing. And then you get into tournament settings, and you're like, I don't know if it's as good here. That's Sharp's... Sharp in the other two matchups, really good for tournament based play, has like lots of aggression and stuff and lots of kind of more tricky stuff, but his play against Zerg, literally, like, I love watching it because it's just like the exact stuff I do, where it's like, okay, Academy Rush, you know, bio into vessels, and it's like really good and will kill most people. But specifically Sulky and herO, like, I mean, these are guys that I look at and I'm like, I don't know if this style will ever work against them again.
Yeah, you know, I want to expand on what you're saying. There are certain people, I think you can experience this even on lower levels of play, where you're like, if I do anything Rush related to this guy, it never works. Like, they are a bank vault. Like, I cannot get inside. I can't do anything tactically to make this work, so why would I bother? I think I'm actually, even though I feel hopeless in a long macro game against this person, I think I have better odds trying to go toe-to-toe than to try to do some judo flip and, you know, rug pull the game from them.
Yeah, it's tough when you get a player like that. Those are the players that feel like it's inevitable. You know, if they can block all the cheese and they're great in the late game, especially when you're playing against herO or Sulky. So one thing to mention here, right? This does look, it's going to be a 2-Rax Academy Rush after the expansion goes up. And we see that Sharp was just poking in there to try to find that base at 9 o'clock. I'm pretty sure he saw it. But I was actually looking in the minimap to try to find if there was a third depot, which I believe that he did go third depot before that Rax, which is, this is like the Sharp special. Yeah. So this, like this version of 2-Rax Academy Rush, this is what Sharp does the vast majority of his Terran vs. Zerg games. So a lot of people will go just a faster Academy by about 20-30 seconds, but you don't have that additional depot. So what happens with Sharp is he gets a few more Marines. It's actually more stable in a lot of ways. But for instance here, if herO's very on top of things, Sharp probably won't be able to force a sunken and cross spawn. Close spawn, much more likely. Cross spawn here, I doubt he's going to be able to force those sunken colonies that you want to force.
Cross spawns are always longer travel distances, and that few extra seconds in attacking or scouting and cross spawns makes a huge difference. Well, now, in this case, the Marines are out, and it looks like they could be going towards this 9 o'clock position.
Yeah, and I definitely called that one wrong because he just walks out with them. The thing is, the medic timing is too late to force the Sunkens, but he just walks out with the Marines and puts some pressure on. He actually forces 2 Sunkens with this. This was actually really okay. So he cancels the one in the natural. That makes a lot of sense. But like this was a very, very good move. This is the type of thing actually that Flash has been doing on the ladder, where he's moving out earlier with just Marines to try to force things. And you can see here, like Sharp will end up losing these Marines, but that's okay. He just traded with an okay amount of Zerglings, and he forced a Sunken at that 3rd base. And he had the 2nd racks quickly, and he had non-stop Marine production. So he actually still has a fair amount of Marines here as well.
I'm glad that
I like the opener.
I'm glad that you're explaining it like this, because I think to the untrained eye, this is very confusing, because you think, well, nothing happened, and then Zerg killed Terran stuff, so this, the Terran player's losing, and it's like, actually, when you look at the balancing act of trying to get drones out while having enough attacking units, forcing sunken colonies, which is basically just making them burn through drones, forcing more lings, this is actually better for the Terran.
Yeah.
So he's going to come down now. I don't know that he can get in here. Actually, 2 medevacs, 2 fire bats with these Marines. I think he can actually make this work, Tastosis.
Well, if he had medevacs, he'd go into the main, but...
I'm sorry, medics. Wrong StarCraft.
Yeah. No, this is actually turning out to be amazing. He hit right before that Sunken. If that Sunken had been finished, he would have been crushed here. But he kills a lot of drones. He gets rid of that Sunken. He gets rid of the Lings. More Marines coming up. He can actually attack again. Sharp is taking a huge lead in this game so far. Like, this is...
I'm so impressed with the decision-making here. The fact that, like, he knows when to pull out and when to go back in. I would have committed down onto that Sunken colony before he had left the other time. But, again, this 3rd base is basically non-functioning. You're not getting any value from it right now. It's like an outpost you're trying to protect. You're not extracting value. You're not even getting gas. I guess you can use it to hatch some Mutalisks and stuff like that. But right now, I think Sharp has done some really good jabs. He's come in here, he's got damage, and he hasn't overdone it. And we talked about how players like herO usually have the most comfortable mid games, along with Sulky. Sulky and herO, kind of the Ken and Ryu of these play styles, if you want to think of them like that. But in this case, I think herO has basically maintained an advantage. He's looking really good. And I gotta say, I'm really impressed with Sharp actually taking this lead like this.
Yeah, this was super excellently done by Sharp. But that being said, it's not like an easy cleanup game from here, right? The style that Sharp is using here is just a very balanced approach. So, like, for instance, if he had been able to do all that, but he already, he had like a +1 and 4 racks already up and everything, right? That would be completely different. Now, he is adding those racks, right? He's technically got 4 racks finished, but I don't foresee him being able to just, like, walk over and kill herO. herO, I think, is going to have time to kind of get things together, get into lurkers, right? He's getting in here and harassing a little bit, and that'll be a bit annoying. And Sharp is headed up right now into his starports, and of course herO can see that. So I still think that the game has like a lot of play left.
Yeah, there's still a pretty big runway right now for herO for sure. The Hive is being rushed into right now, but Sharp can't really take any damage. The mutas can't really get that much done. There's just enough Marines out here. Great dive by Sharp. It looked like herO was angling to take out the medic that was on the outside. He might try again here in a second, but Sharp's been really on top of this.
He's doing a very good job kind of keeping a forward group where you have to respect this. If you dive into the main base with those mutas, he will just move across, and in fact, starts to move now. He's trying to utilize that advantage that he had before. He knows that herO's been adding in some drones. And there's multiple Sunkens have had to be made at both of those different bases. So he is starting to push out. Look at this, very fast second engineering bay as well. Sharp is really putting out like a masterful basic game here. I really love what I'm seeing.
The push is going to come out from Sharp. He's got reinforcements coming. He saw where the mutas are, so he knows he can safely move the rest of this infantry behind this. It's really hard to break into the position that's the 3rd base that herO has right now, so it may be more tempting to try to go into the natural. Sometimes you just want to attack where you can actually get damage and value and have real opportunities. So he's moved up. He's just going to pull the trigger. I don't see lurkers burrowed. In fact, it's just, I think, a couple of eggs morphing here. herO's going to drop those sunken colonies almost immediately. The Mutas cannot tank that much damage. Is this game about to end?
It is. It is. This was perfectly done by Sharp. A really, truly an excellent game.
Oh my god. You never see herO go down like that. You never see herO kind of,
Yeah.
It's like toe-to-toe. Sharp will get, maybe a 5% lead, carry that on a little bit further, play conservatively. He came in again, hit that third base, didn't overdo it, basically forced another sunken colony, killed all the lings and drones, and then when he thought, wait a minute, am I in too deep? And by the way, I think in TVZ, the one matchup where it's the easiest to go in too deep is the early game of TVZ. You think you've got enough medics and marines and sustain, and then just enough lings get out and take it. And instead of letting herO take that advantage back, instead he played even more conservatively. He moved back out, leaving a dry, dysfunctional expansion where there was no drones mining, and then just set up for a very nice push. Faked going into the third, moved down immediately. The lurker tech delayed again because of that small edge that Sharp had eked out because of the moves he made earlier on, allowed him to crush that second base, and of course from there, the game is over.
Well, damn. You sum 41'd up that game perfectly, Tasteless. Just holding that the whole time. It didn't matter what you ended with. I was going to say that. So we're going to get into Radeon. He's in too deep, Tasteless. All right, so
I'm trying to think of I'm trying now. I'm thinking of the band Sum 41 and RTO's lyrics like tearing so hard. Okay, we've got Sharp in the bottom right, herO in the top right. I couldn't finish my Sum 41 punk lyrics that I had.
AI is going to take over your funny songs pretty soon, but
yeah.
I'm sure there's something there for that for sure. But
what was that Miley Cyrus song, "Party in the USA"? I did have a version of you singing that, which was "Terran was the hardest race" instead of "Party in the USA."
It sounds really good. I would love to hear you sing some of these, Tasteless.
Yeah, well, we gotta get our whole album put together. From California, welcome. Glad to see you made it to the studio. I forgot to mention this at the start of the last game, guys, so we're just gonna do it now. If you want to support us, go to patreon.com/ASL English. Your support is appreciated. It is the way that we're able to do this. We're not being paid by the tournament anymore. That's been gone for years and years. That's why we set this Patreon up. So consider signing up. Consider supporting us. We appreciate it. We love you guys.
Thank you very much to everyone who has supported us over the years. This continues to be the greatest tournament in the world. Every single season, a completely new story. I love watching the stories build, too, because, like, for instance, these two, herO has a big winning record on Sharp. They've played a lot of times, man. These two have been in almost every single ASL, right? Like, it's very close to that. I remember there's one season Sharp didn't make it in. It was actually really sad. I saw him go on stream, and he was, like, almost, like, it felt like he wanted to cry. And he's like, I'm sorry, I just did not play well. And, here he is back, just a complete killer, playing amazingly there. By the way, just to throw this out there, that is an 8 racks that is natural. So he's going to put some light pressure on.
Yeah. Just to continue the point that you were making, Tastosis, it's great to see each of the players and see how awesome the games are. But it really is about the stories from season to season.
Yeah.
The landscape has completely shifted in the last, 4 seasons that we've had this year. It's crazy to see that, right now, Sharp might be the only Terran. We might not even have a Terran in the top 4. Crazy to think that Sulky has won the last 2 seasons and could win this third one. He's looking very strong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what is so nice about watching this game over the ages and seeing players, that are at the very top of the world fade away and new people come in and some of these old players come back. We're now going to go into this rush. The drones are pulled. Zergs have gotten so good at this style of play, it's kind of crazy. I think Terrans have had to be even more conservative now. Obviously, you're losing tons of resources by not mining, but you can basically zone them out from attacking. The drones have a pretty good sliding mechanic when they attack, so they're able to come in and in some ways moving shot. We saw a little bit of that. And it's very tough for the Marines to deal with. So I got to say, herO probably doing as good of a job as you could ask for. But the drone count's getting lower. Barely gets that one drone away. Oh, my God.
All right. I think that herO has a slight advantage after that.
Yeah.
It was pretty close, right? Because he lost 2 drones, but he killed multiple SCVs. The bunker is not going to get up. He killed a bunch of Marines and everything. So, yeah, no, I think that was an excellent defense from herO. That was really, really well done. The surround on that first Marine was super key. The pullback on that one really injured drone, super, super good. Excellent defense. But here's the thing. It's one of those borderline cases where it's like, okay, who is ahead after that? And like I said, I think herO maybe just slightly, but it's close enough that you're like, the game plays out from here. And I think, you wish you defended it better always. You wish that you did more damage always on the other side. But I think we'll just get into a pretty standard game from here.
Oh, you got to be careful about this. I was wondering about when I saw the Overlord kid over there. If there's enough Marines, you can just lift that barracks up and snipe it, and then it's a much more confusing game from the Zerg. You're really relying on that one Overlord being perched up there to monitor activity outside the Terran's natural expansion.
Yeah.
The eBay has been thrown down right away before the Academy, so this is going to be for the +1 attack. Although, now that I think about it, was it Rush that did the +1 armor build?
Yes.
That I think we never saw again.
Okay, so I remember us talking about that and be like, wait, is this going to be a thing or whatever? I actually saw him do it 2 more times on different places that were not ASL. Never figured out what he was trying to do, to be honest. He stopped doing it completely, but he did. That was an attempt for a while there.
There was an armor first build PVZ, and the idea was that at the time all the Zergs would get +1 armor to deal with your +1 attack, and so it was like a way to mute that. But when Zergs stopped doing it, the build order became obsolete. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just always sorry I ask about it all the time. I'm just curious if we're going to see it again. I think it was one of the more mysterious games we casted.
It's a fascinating thing, right? And like there are mech builds that go +1 armor on mech, but yeah, it never did. It never did end up catching on. Though Rush was trying there. I guarantee you this is a +1 attack from Sharp, and he'll go up to those 4 racks like you mentioned. This is the best follow-up to an 8 racks because it's really, really comfortable to do. When 8 racks comes out and pressures, the Mutalisks become so late that it's... The thing is, like, the fast +1 builds, you have to kind of balance, like, having some Marines for defense, continually producing your SCVs, and then also adding all your barracks. When you open up with the 8 racks, it kind of takes a lot of the tightness out of the build. You know what I mean? Like, you're totally fine. They're making drones. Their base is, or their layer is like a little bit slower and everything. So you just kind of like add the racks and it's not an issue. And it just makes it very easy to get into a build like this. Yeah.
You know, when you hold off the rush, first of all, you're usually safe as Terran, but the tension has been released in a lot of ways from what was happening earlier. herO does have link speed, which is going to make the Terran a lot more cautious. It seems like he's going to operate off the bare minimum. This was 3 hatch in main, but there is another hatch being taken in the main. This is a deviation from the very current meta, which has had a lot of either taking the hatchery, I'm sorry, taking your third base is what I'm trying to say, at the natural or at an obscure location. This is back to textbook TVZ, and I think herO did this really deliberately because a lot of games we've casted this season, people are taking natural expanse. So this is like a very, this month, last month meta shift here that herO's trying to bring out.
I think it makes sense if you know you're going to be playing against the +1, which almost always happens after 8 racks. You just want the hatchery further away. Because that's the main thing. It's like if you take another natural, it's easier to bust. So he has that further away. Sharp is moving across the map really, really quickly here. herO's trying to get some damage. He needs those Sunkens up like a long time ago. This is okay. This is actually really, really dangerous right now.
Dude, I think that actually he might die. In some weird ways, it's almost good that Overlord tanked for a second there. I don't see enough material here with the Sunken colonies. I don't see any lings. The drones are kind of getting stuck going in between the Sunken colonies. What?
Yeah.
What? Are you serious? This game could end like this? Now, that being said, the main base is a complete and total disaster right now for Sharp, but Sharp is not even blinking. He's going to go right into the main. He knows he can completely massacre literally every drone in this game. Tastosis is going to be killed. There are no drones at the third base.
I don't think there's any possibility for herO to win from here. Like, his mutas can kill the entire main base, and it doesn't even matter. Sharp will kill every single building with that Bioforce. And look, he's got just enough units. Yeah, Sharp is going to be up 2-0, which is crazy to me. Like,
I think there's no more than one drone on the map right now.
I think
it's funny. When you kill the Sunks and you run in, there's nothing there. A Terran base is different. There's all these different layers of defense with turrets. There's a bunker. The SCVs can repair and kind of give you a little bit more time. When you get past the sunken colonies, if there's nothing else there, it is a naked, barren, open base. And we're just seeing this get wiped out. Now, Sharp, he's a bit wobbly himself, but it's incomparable to the damage that's been received here. He should kill that spawning pool, by the way, and send this Zerg back into the Stone Age.
Now, herO technically has enough to kill this bio off. And it looks like he has finally decided to come back and do it. He's lost his Spire. He's lost his Lair. So what he has is what you get. Like, this game is pretty over. Sharp added more turrets as well, and he simply has enough turrets at this point that the mutas are not going to be able to break him. So I think we're going to see herO kind of, like, play this out a little bit with the mutalist micro, and he's going to leave. Yeah. There you go. This is a very rough opening here for herO to go down 0-2, and specifically... Again, this is, you might look at this and say, wow, he's doing so much better than Light. The wins are actually basically the same exact thing we saw with Light versus Sulky. If you're going to beat these guys, it's going to be a sharp bust timing, right? herO hasn't been able to get into the late game yet. He's going to have to shore up that defense and get towards that late game.
I've never really thought we would see herO lose like this. Like, it's funny, we were talking, leading up to this in the show about how this is just not, you never see herO just get killed in mid-game. That's just not something that happens, and here we are. A really good attack, by the way, from herO to come into here, but it seems like he hadn't started these Sunks in time. Like, basically, he probably should have started these before he did the counter. Instead, he ran and went back home and then started them. And even though these sunken colonies are all going to finish and get a few shots off, you needed them to basically all be done at once. Had Terran tried to dive in, the Sunks were done, and the Terran failed to get inside the base, then I think the Zerg would have won here. But Sharp is looking so crisp. It's kind of incredible. Yeah. And he's up 2-0. He's halfway to going on to the Final Four.
Well, from here... I don't think Sharp came in today thinking he was going to be able to take 2 quick games like this. But, here's the thing. I actually still think herO's going to win this, okay? Maybe that's my Terran negativity, but I think that all herO needs to do is make sure he's not getting sunken busted. But when you're up 2-0, you can start mixing in, center barracks play, right? Like, really cheesy all-ins. Because he only needs to pick up 2 more wins out of the next 6 games. Or, well, 5 games. It's a best of 7, not a best of 8. But you know what I mean, Tastosis.
Math is a dangerous game, Tastosis. You really put yourself out there. Guys, coming up next, we're going to go to Game 3. We'll be right back here with Sharp versus herO.
틀에 박힌 건 그만. 구속은 사양할게. 부담 없는 게 좋아. 통신을 내 방식대로. Live my life. Live M.
팬분들 있는 앞에서 경기한다는 게 너무
3 round of 8 in a row. I am happy to play in front of the fans. It makes it even better. What are spider mines to you? They are the reason I got my second nickname. Nicknames you want. I have this Spider-Man King nickname, but I'd like to hear people say, wow, Sharp is pretty good with his Marines. Theme song selection. I've gone with my wife's recommendations. If the wife says go with this song, you go with it, right? I trust her and then get treated to various home-cooked meals. How does your wife support you? She tells me not to be nervous and not to get careless until the game is over. If you play your game, you can do well, she says. T or F? I think I sympathize a lot, so probably F. Boundless emotions, a monster of feelings. I hear that a lot. Recent interests. Running has got very popular now. I need to go on a diet as well. To stay healthy, I'm not very serious about running, but I try and do it a bit here and there. Dieting advice. I am living proof. Just eat what you need to eat and nothing else. No snacks, no instant food, no drinks, and you can't gain weight. Recent worries. The TVZ I need to overcome. If I want to reach my peak in the SSL, I need to fix my TVZ a little bit. I'm treating it as homework. I will prepare well and do my best to try and make this one count. Fighting. 100 wins in ASL SSL. 100 wins. That's a surprise. Makes you think it's disappointing I'm not a champion. The most memorable win from those 100. Before I went to the army, the third place match of ASL Season 5, the 5th set against Mini is the one etched in my memory. I lost 2 sets and then won 3 in a row. A lot of fans showed up. It was quite a dramatic match. I think that's why I remember it. Theme song selection. I've been using it for a long time. Can't remember when I started. Fixed theme song since ASL Season 4. This song creates a feeling of suspense. I changed it once, but then lost miserably. So I went back and have been using it since. Match day routine. There is one thing I do nowadays. I show up and eat kimbap. Players usually say they starve themselves. That's been my routine recently. T or F? I am becoming a T nowadays. I used to be F, but the more people I meet, the more T I become. Height and shoe size. 178 centimeters tall, 218 millimeters shoe size. What color do you like? I like the color blue and orange. Blue because it feels like the sky or the sea, and I've come to like orange because I joined JSA recently. Recent interests. I started working out again. Makes every day interesting. I want to work out 6 days a week, but I've got tournaments, so maybe twice, thrice a week. Hardest thing about working out. The hardest thing about working out is my physique compared to back then. I'm too heavy for pull-ups. Drinking on your own or with friends. I don't drink by myself and I don't like drinking with too many people, just a few good friends. I'll prepare well and go to the round of 4.
2015년 우리는 새로운 방식의 e스포츠와 게임에 대한 여정을 시작했습니다. 누구나 참여할 수 있는 e스포츠, 누구나 대회를 만들 수 있는 e스포츠, 그리고 누구나 중계할 수 있는 e스포츠. 우리는 많은 투자와 성장을 거치면서 e스포츠 방송의 확장과 변화를 만들어 왔습니다. 이제 우리는 또 다른 새로운 변화를 준비하고 있습니다. SOOP e스포츠, 우리의 또 다른 시작입니다. SOOP e스포츠는 단순한 이름의 변경이 아닙니다. 이는 우리의 비전과 가치, 그리고 앞으로 나아갈 방향을 새롭게 정의하는 과정입니다. 우리의 새로운 로고는 무한대를 상징화하며 끊임없는 성장과 끝없는 가능성을 표현합니다. 이 로고는 끊임없는 투자와 경쟁력을 상징하는 동시에 글로벌 e스포츠 플랫폼으로서의 역량을 강화하려는 우리의 의지를 담고 있습니다. 이를 토대로 우리는 SOOP e스포츠라는 최상위 브랜드를 두고 각종 인기 게임 리그들의 새로운 로고 또한 여러분들께 선보이려 합니다. 리그 오브 레전드, 발로란트, TFT, 스타크래프트, 철권. 이 로고들은 각각의 리그가 가진 독특한 정체성과 매력을 표현하면서도 SOOP e스포츠라는 큰 틀 안에서의 통일성을 유지하고 있습니다. 우리 SOOP e스포츠는 앞으로도 여러분과 함께 e스포츠의 새로운 역사를 써내려갈 것입니다. SOOP e스포츠, 무한한 가능성을 향해 도약합니다.
We're back, everybody. Fingers crossed that herO can start to turn this around. Otherwise, we might be in for a very short series.
Yeah, definitely a real possibility. I mean, someone starts out that dominating in a 2-0. Definitely looking good for them. But, you know, I don't think you can rely on winning 4 games with Sunken Bus. But if you get 2 early wins like that, I mean, if I was Sharp right now, no matter what plans I had coming into the series, I would consider going BBS like at least 3 times in the next 5 games. Because it's like, oh man, if he goes hat-trick first, you can just win instantly for free with no skill whatsoever put into it. So I'm just throwing that out there. I think if he gets unbelievably cheesy, this becomes the hardest series of herO's life.
Yeah, I mean, you know, one thing to note is that some players are more inclined to turn around and defend counterattacks than others. Everybody's a little bit different. Really, you do have your own unique fingerprints when it comes to how you behave with counterattacks. I think if that was a game where both times herO kind of thought he's not going to do it and thought he was doing that balancing act perfectly, and both times Sharp came out and punched him right in the nose.
Yeah.
And the whole game shattered for herO. Now, there's no way for us, speccing this right now to know, okay, did he like cut or did he like make 2 extra drones? Did he try to mine a little bit longer with the drones that he had just so that he could make his creep colonies a little bit later? You know, all these different little ideas. And is that what happened? I'm not sure. We would have to have the replays and go over them a couple times, but whatever point Sharp's doing, he's looking great. And, the reality is that we have not seen late game with these 2. We haven't seen an all-in or a cheese either, but we haven't seen late game, which is kind of where we thought that herO was going to have his greatest strength. A solid mid-game with no errors into an unstoppable late game. Instead, it was 2 mid-games in a row here where Sharp, kind of like, when they blew up the Death Star in Star Wars, they knew exactly how to go right through the tunnel, and there was one weak spot and hit it. That's what Sharp did.
That's right. The weak spot being the Sunkens are not ready. And herO's paid for that twice. Well, we'll see if he can hold here. A 2-player map going to be a little bit more straightforward, I think, for herO.
I think you were trembling when you said that. You were like, whoa, the game started.
Whoa, nervous Tastosis. Is Sharp going to 4-0 herO and destroy my anti-Zerg agenda? Oh, no.
Is one of my predictions going to be wrong again? Oh, no.
For the first time, Tastosis.
Yeah, for the very first time. Bottom right, Sharp. Top left, herO. Back onto this map.
Minstrel.
Minstrel,
it's fun. I really like Minstrel. My games on Minstrel, it's right now somehow my favorite map in the pool. I don't even... dude, it's so frustrating. There's so many hard things about it. It kind of reminds me of Peaks of Baekdu. Do you remember that map, Shin Peaks of Baekdu?
I do.
We used to play on that map all the time, and that was a very crazy, many-pathed map. That was a 2-player map. And, that causes its own issues, but that was a really fun 2-player map to play. And I'm getting the same vibes out of Minstrel. And, of course, you couldn't bring back Peaks of Baekdu today. It would be absolutely imbalanced. No. But...
for its time, it was not bad, actually.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
I thought for its time and where people were kind of at, I thought it made for some good games. I think it especially in TVP, it forced a lot of really long games.
Yeah.
I don't think you want a map where you always have long games. I think there's better ways to design it.
For sure.
But this is a great map. It does feel like a map that's going to be a headache for both players if you go into a really long game. It is split into 5 horizontal lanes. Some of them tilted slightly, from the top left to the bottom right. But basically 5 lanes that, with a few exceptions, you really can't get access to without, going out in these long, windy paths.
Yeah.
So late game can be tough. It's a map where it seems like both sides can expand in both directions. There's bases you could reach up to, from the Terran's perspective, bases you could take towards the top, bases you could take towards the bottom. And for TVZ, especially when you get into mid and late game, positions get really fortified on both sides. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see, assuming we get a late game here, and I'm sure we're going to get at least one here with these two. It should be fun to see how it goes down.
I really am looking forward to maybe getting into that late game. Like, as exciting as the Sunken Bus can be. Oh, wow, those SCVs are really smart and good at their jobs. Wow, that was amazing. My God. Those two SCVs were just stuck on top of each other for like 12 seconds or so. That was absurd. But a lot of lost mining time here. That drone actually, despite not getting kills, did a lot of damage. He had to run away, a 5 health SCV, and then a third SCV had to come down, and then both of them get glitched for that long. Super, super annoying. Sharp getting very little scouting intel. And this is...
No kidding. Is herO going to take the bottom left?
Yeah. And he actually scouts over right now, and I don't know. We'll see if he's able to kind of figure out what's going on. Now, he gets up the ramp, which is really important. He's going to see that the gas is light. So you look at this and you say, okay, something's up.
Yeah, interesting. You know, there's not a lot of places that you can really sneak a base up and then hold it. In fact, please correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know this matchup that well. There's nowhere that you can just take a base and like put a lurker there, or 2 or 3 lurkers and not die, right?
No, that base is pretty attackable. Like, you can come down the top ramp or through the opening on the other side, and those two are far enough away. Lurkers can't really block both. So, like, sometimes what'll generally happen when you take a base like that is if you need defense, you'll make the Sunkens touching the hatchery, or burrow the lurkers touching the hatchery, so you can kind of defend both. But, yeah, this is like, it's a risky play in a lot of ways from herO. But if he gets it up, the economy he's going to have is going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, I didn't expect to see this at all on this map. I thought we were going to see a tighter game. I feel like, especially after the way that game 1 and 2 went, this feels really risky. But let's see how herO's going to approach it. We've got the Academy coming down here again. And here's the SCV with the scouts, so he knows. I'm really curious, what the future of this hatchery is going to be.
Well, Sharp does like 2 racks Academy rushes super, super regularly. Here it looks like he actually, if I'm not mistaken, because I was kind of like focusing really heavily on herO and kind of trying to watch gas timings and stuff, but I think Sharp here actually went 3 Barracks Academy. And 3 Barracks Academy is... like, it's a very fast 3 barracks with a delayed engineering bay. This is... I couldn't come up with a better counter to what herO's doing than what he's done here. Like, this looks perfect from Sharp. If he simply makes stim and has a decent amount of Marines and medics and walks out, you're going to need 3 Sunkens at both bases. 3. That's insane. 6 Sunken colonies? You can't afford that.
It's a lot, man. By the way, just... because I know this map is still new and I know not everybody's active, there are 2 entrances to the base at the bottom left. So we have those 2 sunks coming down now. So there's the area to the right of here. That's kind of the wider, more open area. There's also a ramp you can take that would go up, and then it goes right back down into that base over there. Meanwhile, the Terran is just darting across the map, appearing to be putting pressure over onto the natural expansion. The 3 sunken colonies should finish in just in time.
If he simply walks to the south, he gets a free kill on that bottom hatch, I think. Oh, he's going to try to kill the sunks.
What?
Yeah, that's a little bit crazy. This was not the right choice.
Okay. He might have become addicted to sunken busts.
Well,
I think he's like,
yeah.
no, I know this. I know what to do, because I think his brain probably read that the right way and that he shouldn't have attacked and just went for it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
That Evo chamber that's thrown down here in the front, that is literally just to sponge damage for a few extra seconds so that you can win the fight.
Yeah, you have to walk further forward to get all of your Marines to fire, and so you take more hits from the Sunken. It's excellent defense against something like that if your Sunkens are finishing right at that moment.
Right.
And now, Sharp is moving to the south. If he had instantly moved to the south, he would have killed this 100%, but now 2 Sunkens already. We did see there, the Observer showed us there was a supply block, so I'm not sure exactly how many mutas are about to come out, but if he attacks into this well, he can absolutely bust this. Like, you lead with those fire bats, let them kind of tank some of that damage. But mutas are starting to come out, and he's taking some time. It looks like he's rallying down a lot more Marines and medics.
You know, I don't know if the Zerg's going to know how many more infantry are down here at the bottom. This seems like it's a map where it's pretty hard to keep track of the Zerg. And, I'm sorry, keep track of the Terran as the Zerg and know where they are and what they've got. So when these reinforcements get there, this could be a huge problem. The Overlord's going to see it come up now, but this is not a whole lot of time to react.
herO has to bring every single unit that he has. He does have 3 Sunkens already up. The Fire Bats will actually be pretty helpful here in tanking those initial shots, letting the Marines all kind of get into range. I think herO just holds this, though. Yeah, Sharp is actually, like, this could have been an easy win, I think, if he just hadn't attacked the Sunkens at the natural. Because he had an SCV at the bottom left. He saw that the Sunkens weren't even started when he was mid-map. And that means that there wasn't enough time to get them. He could have just made a beeline down to the bottom left and had a huge advantage.
Now I feel like herO's in a safe spot. I agree with you 100%, Tastosis. I feel like he probably, had he not done a dive into the natural, he could have then looped back down to the base at the bottom. And even if he didn't dive in there because there were too many sunken colonies, I think he got the job done. But instead, herO's basically weathered the storm. He's now on 3 bases with gas. There's not a ton of barracks up right now. We're not really in the phase where the barracks explosion happens, where suddenly you just have this, you know, factory of infantry coming out. He's going to scan and see that there's a hive starting here. It does seem like herO's going to go right back to the textbook TVZ, just rush into hive and rush into Dark Swarm.
I got to tell you, it's kind of like the starports are not super, super fast or anything, and he doesn't have any real potential to bust anything, and his upgrades aren't particularly fast. He had the right build to punish this. He kind of made the wrong choice. And suddenly, yeah, I'm looking at this, and you're right, herO's in a very comfortable spot. Like, he's going to easily get up to consume. There's no way he's going to die, right? And that... Well, I guess we're going to see a late game for sure, because it's not like he can go kill Sharp either. Like, this should end up being like a kind of long, drawn-out big fight.
I think you're right. I think there's no way to kill him, and there's definitely no way for Zerg to have any kind of moment to come in and do any sort of fatal damage. So they're just both going to tech up into super late game. It's going to be that SK Terran style. We're not going to have any Valkyries. We shouldn't have Valkyries, by the way. That wouldn't make sense, but I think at this point in time, we're all kind of used to seeing them. We probably won't have a single one made in this game. Instead, it's going to be Terran powering up, pushing out, and taking a 3rd base, maybe even a 4th base. Now, I don't understand TVZ on this map because of the complexity of the layout and the fact that the map is new. I'm really curious, is it going to be an expand towards the top or more towards the middle? We should note that these bases that are towards the middle, in this case from the Zerg's position, just above where those lurkers are, you can attack units from behind the minerals there, and they don't have a whole lot of recourse. Oh. And out of all the games I see on this map and the games that I played personally, it feels like when people expand there, there's a lot of moments where that happens.
I can definitely point out some things about the map for how it plays out later game TVZ. This is not really a great map for like Ultra Ling type of play, you know. So every game that I've played, and it makes sense to me, has been against Hydra Lurker Defiler. Because like you can hold the positions a lot better. You know, Ling Ultra is fast and everything, but kind of running around, you can. There's like a lot of little chokes, right? So lurkers are just strong in general, and then Hydra Lurker Defiler is just like a very steady composition. I think that's what we're going to see here out of herO. And if that's the case, like you generally will just end up massing siege tanks against that. So we might get into like SK plus siege tanks against Hydra Lurker Defiler is my best bet. In the game, it gets insane on this map because there's so many different attack paths.
Yeah, in fact, we've got 2 different attacks happening right now. We have the vessels coming up here. Keep in mind, there's not an easy 4th base spot to take for Zerg. Not that you need to rush into a 4th base, but you do eventually have to get one, right? Terran can kind of drag their feet compared to the Zerg on taking a 3rd and 4th base. In this case, Sharp is going to be wedged in between the 2nd and the 3rd, just kind of causing a little bit of a problem. There's no easy way to get up there. If you could force Zerg to take that base that, you know, is, I guess, towards the top center, this one that he's just now going by, that's a great base because you can hit that and punish that over and over again. And as for Sharp, it seems like he's going to take the top right. And whenever you see anybody expand up there, they usually then take the base to the north of that. And those are probably the best expansions to have on the map. Everything else on this map seems kind of hard to hold.
I would definitely agree with that. All that stuff in kind of towards the center is a little bit weird. And, you know, like, for instance, 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, who's supposed to take each of those? I don't think anyone actually knows as of yet. Like, it hasn't really... We haven't had enough games to be like, okay, this is very obviously, you know, Zerg's base or this one's Terran's base or whatever. So those are bases that end up dying a lot in this matchup, I've found. But right now, you know, Consume is done, so we're going to have Dark Storms coming out. It's going to kind of slow the game down a little bit. Sharp rotating around, he's going to be able to cancel this one. That location, like, everyone expands there. I don't know, Tasteless, if you're playing this map a lot, but I find that the bases that are taken there are killed or stopped mining like 20 times a game.
I feel like it's how you win. It's how you win games. Is by they take that base and you just punish them. Granted, in my games, I've had the same thing. I'll take it. Usually, if I take that base and I still win, it's because I've been dominating them so hard that base doesn't get a lot of attention. But it's crazy it's even a base you can take. It's so punishable because you can hit the minerals from behind.
See, I take that base every game, but the majority of the time I just have a burning command center floating above it in this matchup as I try to clear the lurkers that were behind the minerals. We'll see if Sharp ends up taking that one, but he is expanding that top right as you predicted. We have a lot of bio kind of around the map in various locations, and there's quite a few lings in here, so he might just be going into that Ultralisk tech as well. I don't think I've seen any additional Hydras walk around. By now you'd have like the speed and range upgrades done. So I think he does want to go like a Ling Ultra Defiler Lurker type of composition.
He's gone for quad dropship Tastosis. I love this because the position's pretty complicated, especially over at this bridge. By the way, if they control this bridge, it's so hard to get around the map. Everywhere is just so uncomfortable and maze-like, especially if you have things bound to a bunch of control groups. It's hard to move everything in unison. It looks like he's going to push that away, but that could create an opening, especially when you see those Scourge get shot down. You got to bet that it's going to be a safe moment to try to come in. But there's so many Scourge here.
Yeah.
He's so ready.
Yeah, 4 dropships was super meta like a year and a half ago, but nowadays everyone's base looks like this, and it never works. So, yeah, Ultras are popping out literally as he goes in, so goodbye, 40 supply.
I don't even know. I don't know why he didn't turn around immediately when you see Lings and Scourge there. That's, like, so funny. I mean, it's sad because you can't use them for later. The dropships don't have a lot of utility, but, like, that was such a throw.
The 4 dropship play, like, it was winning so many games for so long that Terrans actually became addicted to it. And now, like, every single Zerg has that setup where they have multiple sets of Scourge and Lings and, like, their leftover mutas waiting in the base. And you can see just 0 damage dealt there. That's like 40 supply for free. But it's not just 40 supply for free. It's also, that could have been 4 more Science Vessels. So he's just going to have less irradiates to deal with now. Sharp is in a terrible position after that, but he has 4 bases, right? So if he can kind of hold on to those and macro back up, the game can absolutely still go on.
You know, the problem with that big drop with 4 dropships is there's only one place you can ever send it into because everything else is so compact. And so, yeah, the Zerg's just preempt it. You just behave as if they're going to do that no matter what, and you can see it's kind of like you're playing into their hands, so to speak. The Ultras are going to come up here. Couple of irradiates are going to be shot down. It's important when you have this mass Ultralisk tech to not bleed out Ultras. Let them take damage, but try to run away if you can. Don't throw them away. It can be easy with all these attacks everywhere on the map. And we saw the tech earlier. There is going to be battlecruisers being made.
Yeah, against this composition, battlecruisers are a great choice, especially when you have an economy this big. You can definitely afford like 3 or even 4 starport battlecruiser. You know, generally you won't stay on it. It'll be like kind of a back and forth where you're like, okay, here's some battlecruisers, here's some more vessels, that type of thing. But right now, herO is taking complete control of this game. This is the scary thing once they get up to the Ultras, is if they appear at a base and throw down Dark Swarm, that's when you know that Terran is losing control of the game. Because you have to have map control against Defilers. And if you don't, and they are just showing up places, it really takes a long time to clear out. Like, a lot of times, you just have to wait for the Dark Swarms to go away. before you can actually reclaim your base.
Yeah, I think we're at the point where herO might be able to fragment each of these positions. He took out the top right, which is really bad for Terran. He's also, you know, the third base and the second base, well, everything else that Terran has, basically the main and the second base and the third, they're pretty far away from each other. If you can create space in between that by having threats on the map where things can't just basically, you know, set up shop out there, that's really big. Another attack's going to come in here, and maybe Sharp is a little bit defending too hard at the third base and not appreciating that actually if his main is attacked into and breached by Lurker Ultralisk Zergling, then he's going to lose all of his infrastructure. Oh!
Very, very painful right there. The Darkstorm getting down, painful as well. You just have to keep those Defilers off you. Anytime that Zerg is doing this, even if you're cleaning it, it's buying them so much time, right? There's no damage that you're dealing across the map. You're just playing cleanup over and over and over. And by the time you have this cleaned up, he's getting off another attack. You can see Sharp is taking a new mineral-only base over there, but already hero's going to get on top of it before it's even mining.
Yeah, this command center kind of has nowhere to actually be right now, so he's going to have to lift that off once more. Supplies are pretty close right now. The Zerg's in a bit of a lead, and basically you never want to have the Zerg be in the lead ever because it means you're not close to even at all. The Zerg is way ahead of you. Yeah. Which might sound obvious, but there are matchups where that's not true. Like Protoss can be ahead of Terran in supply, and it's actually pretty even.
Yeah, anytime Zerg is even or ahead in supply, they're generally crushing in the game. Like, they're supposed to be way down. How many games have you seen, right, where Zerg is at 90 supply against a maxed out Terran, and then they eventually end up winning, right? Like, it's just...
Right.
When they get up this big, it's like, okay, they have so many options here. They can be sending Lings everywhere. There's tons of Ultras, Plagues going down, Darkstorms going down, Lurkers at every base. Very tough stuff here for Sharp, and he's, like, I mean, he's hemorrhaging all over the place. You know, he's very close to dead right now. Even at 150 supply, you look at it and you say, 150 against 166, and he has vessels, and he has siege tanks, and, you know, maybe we're going to have some battle cruisers pop out. No, he's actually pretty close to dead right now, because... he just has 0 map control, which means Defilers show up and ruin your base.
Yeah, and look at this. You can't even move. I guess the one Fire Bat will kill this Ultralisk over time, assuming the Ultralisk doesn't turn in an attack to kill it. But, yeah, it's right now all the hard work that Sharp built his way up to, he just doesn't... It's all basically gone. He has no pressure on any of these bases. It's very deliberate that hero's occupying the lane that would give you access to the minerals behind the 4th or 5th base. The one that we've talked about a lot is being just hard to kind of control. And Terran, you know, they're struggling to grow back into that top right base once more. Zerg with an absurd amount of minerals, by the way. Just so much resources being drank in right now.
And he's just taking a lot more hatcheries, which makes sense. And we'll probably see a lot more Lings coming out into the map as well. Sharp is almost done cleaning this top area. He hasn't been mining from the top right for minutes now. So it looks like he's going to be able to regain that. It looks like he's going to be able to kill that 12 o'clock hatchery that's coming in. That doesn't really hurt herO, though, to be honest. He just cancels it out. And, you know, Sharp is getting a little bit of map control back. A little bit.
Okay, the Ultras are going to try to chase him down. It looks like they can basically shoot ahead here. And, oh my god, another vessel goes down. And again, this base is going to be forced to lift off. Keep in mind that the natural expansion for Terran is going to dry up any second now. I don't think this is a game where the third base is going to fall because the Zerg will overrun it, but it could be a game where the third base dries up and there's just nowhere else to go. The Zerg has maybe a few more spots they could grow into, but the Zerg is also kind of running out of locations. But Zerg don't mine out anywhere near as fast as Terran because they always function off of less workers.
It's so true. And, you know, he's going to have so many bases this game as well. Those workers are even more split than they would normally be. And the fact that he just keeps running in with Ultras, he keeps running in with Defilers, he's stopping mining at the 4th bases completely over and over and over. It's really not a whole lot left for Sharp. Like, he has an okay amount of siege tanks. I think you're right that this base is really not likely to die. But look at this army. Oh my god.
It looks so scary. Well, at this point in time, he might just try to come down and hit the natural again. He's basically oscillating between the third base, the fourth base, and the natural. I guess not even really the fourth base, but the other fourth base that's trying to be taken here. There's so many Lings coming down. Remember that Zerg, you know, they don't even have enough hotkeys on the keyboard to bind armies when they get this big. It's why you always see them come down in a line. They have to grab small groups. That's why Zerg players, when they have to make moves like this, a lot of times they have to make sure they make small boxes. GG, small boxes and not big ones when they're grabbing stuff, so that they can efficiently move stuff across the map. So herO wins with really impressive late game, but it was the mid game that was shaky once again. There was a period where it looked like Sharp had the perfect build and maybe even the perfect plan, but kind of jumped the gun there. Did it dive onto that natural base? Maybe thinking too much about those previous games that he had gotten so close to just closing out. Well, he actually, did close out. He was so close to closing this game out, he did it again. Instead of just rotating to another spot to put on more pressure to stay ahead.
Yeah, if he had gone to the bottom left, I think he'd be up 3-0 right now. But I think that also, you know, that it was a little bit of a risk, this game from herO. The build he did. Against certain builds, it's going to be really good. Against something like what Sharp did, he should have been pretty far behind, but ended up holding on. But I do think that overall, the way that that game looked is how the games generally between these two will look if a sunken bust doesn't work. If Sharp doesn't get a lot of damage in the early to early mid game, like basically pre-lurker, if he doesn't get a bunch of damage, this is what the Hive looks like from herO.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if we're going to have any kind of like mech switches, if we're going to have any kind of Goliath build mech openings. It seems like Sharp has really leaned into this style that's served him well so far, but we really got to focus on that mid game. How's it going to look? Can Sharp possibly take another game off herO? If not, herO's going to even this up 2-2. Okay, Sharp in the bottom left, herO in the top left.
Yeah, just one thing real quick to mention here is that, you know, Sharp's natural minerals face towards herO, so there is more harassment potential for the natural if he wants to go heavy mutalisk harassment. I don't think that's the right choice for herO. I think just making it to Hive is everything for this series.
This is a map where center control is really important. You know, you have pretty easy access to your third base, but outside of that, you know, high ground control can be very strong. Another great map, though. Good to see this sign again here in the audience.
Hello from California. Nice.
Yeah, California. No, it's good to see you guys are still able to come down to the studio. If you haven't, guys, check it out. It's a lot of fun. The studio this is held in is huge, by the way. It's kind of crazy when you walk into it. You're like, whoa.
Yeah,
I think when you see this stuff on camera, it can always... It probably still looks big, but I promise you when you go in there, it feels a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And it's in a cool part of town over in Jamshil Station. I mean, they might move the next season to another studio, but this is one I personally enjoy going to quite a bit. There's a lot of fun stuff around it.
Yeah, yeah. It's actually like a 1 minute walk from Lotte World, the entrance to Lotte World.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that place is so overcrowded all the time. when we went out there, brought my daughter. She wanted to go to Lotte World again when we visited for that Tasteless tournament. And I got to tell you, man, that was so packed. It was crazy.
Yeah, man. Well, a lot of parts of Seoul are, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets... I guess after you move to rural Canada, man, it could be a bit of a shock coming back.
I know,
when you see that many people around at once.
What? Yeah, there's more people in the mall than live on the island I'm in. So
yeah.
Looking at this game, looks pretty standard, right? Like a walled expansion is going to be what Sharp is going for. It looks like a pretty standard 2-hatch timing here from herO as far as the gas goes. Nothing crazy like a very fast third hatch. So I think we're going to have a pretty standard opener I do wonder if Sharp just stays the course. You know, he's basically put out one type of game. Slightly different openers, you know, 8 racks versus just a regular expand, but they basically end up in a very similar point where he's trying to roam with the Marines and Medics and get some advantages.
You know, if it is going to be the same style over and over again, and he can't innovate or he can't make the micro adjustments he needs to make to ensure that he can stay, you know, competitive, herO will start to catch up and move ahead. This is how you see a better player beat a worse player. Is even if the player who's technically worse has like a couple tricks up his sleeve and can win a couple games, in a long series like this, a lot of times they'll make those adjustments and recalibrate and come out on top.
I guess this is one thing. herO should definitely be happy this is a best of 7, right? If this was a best of 5, I'd have given up hope. When you're on map point for 3 maps in a row, it's not a kind situation to be in. But definitely, it is absolutely a series that herO could grind his way out of.
So we've got one in the academy. Looks like he's going to have.
All right, guys, we're back. Sorry about the little jump here. There was some huge technical difficulties. The video file actually was corrupted that we were sent, but we should be fine now. And here we go. We have some pressure coming out here from Sharp.
Yeah, right to the action here. He's going to be running up again, and there's Lings from behind. There's one Ling blocking the ramp. Oh, my God.
Dude.
And this drone block is insane. It is going to perfectly deny this one Marine the ability to do anything. You know, had 2 or 3 Marines even been able to slip through, that would have been huge. And, you know, we were talking about this before Tastosis, but I'm a little bit worried that maybe Sharp is kind of trying this one gimmick a little bit too much. This has to be part of your toolkit, not the one, you know, move you do to win games, because eventually herO is just going to have the sunken colonies ready. He's going to have the Lings in position, and he's going to know that you're going to overcommit like we saw back there. Now the mutas are going to hatch, the counterattacks coming in here, and this is Sharp right now with a lot of, I should say a lot less Marines and Medics than he had before.
Yeah, his front doesn't really have a turret there as well, so that's going to be a bit of an issue. You know, these depots might just get picked off. He's going to have a hard time getting a turret up. You know, he's taken some risks, but the risks he's taken, like trying to run past sunken colonies and like not having your turrets ready because of it and losing all those units, killing nothing. I'm not going to say it's unwinnable from here because, you know, there's still a lot of play left, but without a doubt, herO's getting an advantage. Like a sizable one. I would, if I tried that, I would be like, oh man, how do I win this, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this is rough. It's funny, I don't normally talk about series like this, but I am getting now very worried for Sharp. I know he's still up 2-1 in this game, and it's not like this game is going to end right away, but I do feel like we're seeing this theme here. You know, can he bust in there? Can he kind of stop the game before it starts, so to speak? And it seems like he's now doing this every time, and, you know, herO just being the adaptive player that he is making those small adjustments, is fine-tuning his play to make sure that he is doubly ready for any kind of Marine bust. And here we are in Game 4 with a second failed Marine attack here. herO is so in control of this game. At this point in time, Sharp up here just trying to protect the turrets that are there to protect his barracks. And meanwhile, these Lings can flood in from the bottom and start to hit these turrets down here.
Look at this. The mutas killing off some of these Marines while the Lings go after missile turrets. It's a perfect plan here. And he is doing a great job. You can see the Marines getting picked off pretty quickly. There's a lot of turrets. So the mutas are taking some pretty significant damage during this as well.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, actually. Sharp had a couple of those Marines stay alive a little bit longer, but the idea here is if you can just kill the last Marine that's down there, the Lings will overwhelm the SCVs and turrets, and that's basically all you have to do. Now, there is a chance that herO overextends here, but the fact the Marine count has been reset twice now is very worrying here for Sharp.
The one thing we can say is herO doesn't have a third base, so if Sharp ends up stabilizing here, it's not like herO is just going to run away with the game by having so much gas. Yeah, right now the supplies are close. It doesn't matter as much when it's really heavy muta Ling, because you can get very cost-efficient against mutas eventually. We'll see if he gets there. Now, a lot of Lings running by that medic block, actually doing perfect work for him. The Mutas fly towards that main base, and he actually scouts that Valkyries are on the menu for Sharp.
Yeah, a bunker finishes here on the low ground, and the turret layout is such that I don't really think you can get that much done anymore with these Mutalisks. I mean, Sharp has basically fortified himself into a position that's going to be very tough to break. And behind all this, herO's third base is feeling a little bit late. He's got a healthy amount of drones. He is teching up, but, you know, this drone being sent out is almost an afterthought here.
Yeah.
As he's going to try to then grow into his third. So in that sense, I think this could be good for Sharp.
Yeah, there are some things about this game that are not perfect for herO anymore. He had that nice advantage, but he tried really hard to close with the Mutaling. And since he didn't, now that we're getting into Valkyries, like, Sharp is going to have a little bit of a tempo advantage here, which sounds weird to say. Also, I need to mention this. There was too much action going on. We couldn't say anything about it, but people probably saw that Sharp targeted down his own depot, and people might think that was a mistake. If he hadn't done that, he actually would have lost this game because his Marines were very, very low. The depot was about one Mutalisk shot from death, and because of how low his Marines were, the Mutas, if they had shot that, would have killed 2 to 3 Marines with the glaives. And you saw how close that hold was with the dive in with the Ling Muta afterwards, where literally 2 or 3 Marines made the entire difference that allowed Sharp to hold his natural. So that was like a Pimp's Plays moment, him killing his own depot.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. It's easy to forget that they have the glaives that bounce. If you just watch a lot of StarCraft, right? But yeah, the chain of damage that spreads out can be so devastating because Marines are so brittle. We could see an SCV actually hiding here behind the minerals, trying to avoid being sniped. It is going to be picked off. But in the middle of the map, we've got the Marines and the Valkyrie roaming around. We don't have lurkers started yet. I assume the lurker tech is on the way, but for now, I just see Hydras waiting to morph into lurker eggs, which means I think this push here at the top right could take this third base out.
He'll get the third base. There's no way that third base gets saved. There's just no way. Like, generally in a situation like this, you would want to do a counterattack because you can't save it. Like, I mean, he can run up and try to kill this army, but I don't think that that's a real possibility. He doesn't have that much. I guess he's going to get a Valkyrie for free, so that's a good start. But I think the hatchery simply dies before you can kill the Marines.
Yeah, I mean, this hatchery's so low, he's going to just lose it at the last second here. The Mutas come in and take another swipe. The Valkyries are going to be out here. Oh my god, he probably forgot he had Overlords over there like that. This game has been so action-packed. This is going to supply block him. Marines even coming in here to flank this Overlord retreating on the side, so that's going to be putting him at 76 of 75, which will cap his ability to make lurkers if Hydralisks are finishing on the morph. With herO having +1 air attack, it does seem like he's in one of these weird positions you see Zerg sometimes get into versus Protoss, where they have to keep making Mutas and Scourge because Corsairs are here. Same idea with the Valkyries.
What a tough situation right now. It's wild. When Sharp lost all those Marines and Medics trying to run up the ramp and get a free win, I thought for sure that herO was going to be able to just run away with the game, but Sharp has done a great job recovering. The fact that it's 2 base versus 2 base, like, the longer it stays there, the more Terran favored it becomes.
Oh my god. This okay, he needs to, first of all, those Overlords have to be saved right now, but these Valkyries on their own could be sniped as well. I feel like when we watch Terran players in SSL, they never had the finesse or agility you see the Protoss players have with the Corsairs because they just weren't using Valkyries for as long. We just see so many Valkyries get picked off. I think he pretty badly overextended again. What you need to do is have enough Valkyries that the Mutas can never touch you, and you're never going to do that if you keep bleeding off Valkyries one by one.
All right. Well, I never thought I'd agree with you when you started out that Terran players don't have the same, like, agility and finesse as Protoss players, but when you put it into context of the amount of time Valkyries have been used, I'll remain your friend for now, but watch yourself. Now,
you gotta keep them alive. You
do.
If they drop down to 1 or 0 again, the Mutas and the Scourge are always going to win the fight.
Yeah, and you know, at this point, it's like the Valkyries aren't probably going to play too much more of a role. We have Mass Lurker coming out. But it's still 2 base here for herO. It looks like herO might be setting up to try to just run into the natural, like for a quick win. But Sharp knows what's going on. Like he has a factory up with an add-on, so he knows he might need tanks. He has a bunch of forward bunkers in here. Sharp is actually in massive control of this game right now.
Well, he's now beginning to surround this pretty scary-looking army here in the middle of the map. He's doing a decent job of keeping these science vessels alive. Oh my God, the surround is insane. I think Sharp could actually go up 3-1 right now. I mean,
really
he's looking just incredible. There's no third base in sight, so it's going to be, you know, a very cornered Zerg right now. Going to tech into Defilers here. I love the lurkers over here onto the side, taking advantage of the complexity of the configuration of the middle of the map, but Sharp seems to be staying focused. We saw a drone just a few seconds ago slide over to the upper right in an attempt to take a base, but the lurker count is low, the marine count is so high, the science vessels, unlike the Valkyries, are staying in increasing numbers, which means we can continue to see irradiate after irradiate. If you're on 2 bases versus 2 bases as the Zerg, you will, over time, just be irradiated into oblivion. You need a third gas. If Terran's on 2 science vessels, sorry, 2 port science vessel on 2 bases, you can't get enough lurkers and defilers and everything else out in time to survive the irradiate onslaught.
Yeah, he just won't. If you just consistently irradiate, that's basically all you need in this game from now on as Sharp. And you can see that, right? Like, he's applying a huge amount of pressure. Honestly, you should just add more fire bats here as well. Oh, yeah, look, he just had a bunch of fire bats pop out. Because you know your opponent has to rely on Zerglings really, really heavily here. So you just mix in more fire bats. Like, the lurker count's going to get low. Look at this. He hits an eraser. Dude, herO is all but dead right now. 49 supply, that's not enough to do anything with.
Yeah, he's kind of falling apart here. There's just no way for him to keep enough lurkers in the game to cover every position here. God, the eraser's so sick. StarCraft's such a good game. Yeah. Every time I see that, I'm like, this is the best game in the world. The fact that you can do moves like this. So the top right, again, has been denied. herO taps out Tastosis. How crazy is this? By the way, herO, who's normally emotionless, he has the face of a statue. We're seeing herO looking pretty frustrated, looking pretty shocked at the games that are coming out of Sharp right now. You can see him waving, getting some air on his face. I know my face gets really hot when I lose as well.
Me too.
But this is not the series I think anybody thought they were going to see today. We were saying this was either going to be one-sided and be a herO win, or maybe it'd be a back and forth, and who knows who takes it. Instead, Sharp has a really steady, healthy lead.
Well, when you catch a Marine medic group early on that's trying to do a run-by and you kill it for free and then you get this much damage with the mutas, you really think you should win from there. But he committed too hard to the attack. And that can be a hard thing about Zerg, right? We praise Zergs for being decisive and closing out games when they have the advantage. But at the same time, you know, we have to criticize when you go for it and it doesn't work. So it's kind of, you know, a double-edged sword right there. And herO just... And by the way, see this? This was after he had targeted his depot. See how close this was? If he didn't have those extra 3 Marines, cleared out like 8 Lings and 3 mutas. If he hadn't killed that depot, seriously, herO probably would have won right there.
I thought this counterpunch might win it. And even when these Lings are coming down here, it wasn't clear that he's going to survive. He has like 5 Marines right now. There's more mutas in the control group right now than there are Marines. And these turrets, they can keep the mutas out, but what herO wants to do is try to get in between the turrets at the bottom and the turrets at the top just long enough to kill the Marines. When the bunker finishes, suddenly the whole position's, you know, it's solid. I don't see any weak point to break in. And then you realize that all of herO's APM went into trying to bust this, and it's 2 base versus 2 base. Zerg did not have a third. You know, it's literally impossible to do everything at once. Even if you look at someone like Flash, you're like, oh, he's like so fast, he does everything. He's choosing to do things every second over something else.
Yeah.
herO needed to have 1 more hatchery making. He didn't do that. And that's that. Guys, we're going to go to Kickback next for map number 5. We'll be right back.
틀에 박힌 건 그만. 구속은 사양할게. 부담 없는 게 좋아. 통신을 내 방식대로. Live my life. Live M.
Up with my door shut, D&D so don't call up. A few missed meals, so what? Crunch time about to crawl up. I'm a force under big pressure. Under pressure they sprawl us. If you coach it with a mediocre, then any over you cold luck. I've been about the grind though. Got plenty of receipts too. My lower back tell me all the time what 12 hours on repeat dude. But can't stop, I don't got breaks. I've been putting in years, dude. Ain't it funny how you get lucky when you work harder than your peers do? Guess I'm lucky all day. Guess what? I guess I'm lucky all day. I guess I'm lucky all day. Now you wanna tell me that I'm lucky all day. Some call me king, others say I drew oasis. They think I picked up the crown from the pavement. Well, if I'm lucky, guess I'm lucky all day. Guess I'm lucky all day. Guess I'm lucky all day. Everybody around me gets gold things. Call it coincidence or good omens. If I'm lucky, guess I'm lucky all day. Guess I'm lucky all day. Guess I'm lucky all day now. Yeah, they wanna see my decline. There's a whole line of them, that's fine. I stay posted up in their minds and don't pay a dime of rent. I don't mix much with they kind. I ain't trying to blend the difference between I and them and Steinbeck. Of mice and men, ooh, it's time again. Straps on and we live again. Upsetting they in position, but I ain't even got eyes on them. It's a me versus me exhibition. Me winning, that's repetition. When I retire, that's deposition. Untouchable, I'm the definition. I don't blame them, I rise, feed them is a ball. Came up as an underdog and now I'm at the pinnacle. Some call it crazy, others call it a miracle. The only thing I know is that I grind and I get it up. No, I ain't do no dice roll. I went through the fire, now everything is refined. Oh, what the hell do I know? Maybe I'm just lucky and this is how my life goes. Guess I'm lucky all day. Guess what? I guess I'm lucky all day. I guess I'm lucky all day. Know you wanna tell me that I'm lucky all day. Some call me a king, others say I drew aces. They think I picked up the crown from the pavement. Well, if I'm lucky, guess I'm lucky all day. Guess I'm lucky all day. Guess I'm lucky all day. Everybody around me gets gold things. Call it coincidence or good omens. If I'm lucky, guess I'm lucky all day. Guess I'm lucky all day. Guess I'm lucky all day now. We don't stop regardless. Ha. Yeah. We gon' run it all. Yeah. We gon' run it all. But listen. We living life so free. The freedom never free, so there's a price so we. If you can count the cost and unite strongly, then we a manifestation of what life gon' be. We do what we choose. I chose all for release. Call me Pablo, the way I sent my bars overseas. Exploited a mistake on the part of the beast who underestimated the sons and daughters of queens. Like, we the ones that blood ball. We're who they run from. We be like, and we made it this far cause we said we don't stop regardless. But they wanna take us back to yesteryear. We don't stop regardless. They think we got every reason to fail. We don't stop regardless. Don't you know we made it this far cause we said we don't stop regardless. Oh no, we don't stop regardless. Nah, we gon' run it all day. 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 We gon' run it all day.
All right, this best of 7 continues on.
That's right. We don't stop regardless.
We don't stop regardless. These lyrics, man. Someone in my chat came by on my stream and told me that the music this season sounds like it was written by AI, and I'm like, maybe an even worse AI than we already have, actually. The music choice. Maybe AI before it was released to the public, man. Yeah, we've had some choice songs this season for sure.
What do you think about the SSL intro song?
We are the SOOP StarCraft League.
It's kind of like corny, but it's doing the same thing to my brain that the WCG song did, where I'm like, I know this song isn't good, but I like this tournament so much that I like the song in a way because it heralds the beginning of the tournament. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. Like, actually, when we're done, it's kind of in my head for most of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's something catchy about it. What a crazy series this has been. I can't believe Sharp is up 3-1. This could be our last game on Kickback. I mean, you know, Sharp has done it. Again, you know, real strength in the mid game so far. Only one misstep. Guys, we're going to go back into this one. Kickback as this best of 7 continues on.
We are love, we are care, we are here for the ride, trying to fun side by side.
herO in the top right, Sharp in the top left. So yeah, look, every game that Sharp wins, it's solid mid game. That last one was a little bit different. It wasn't a bust. I know I was even being a little bit critical when we saw the attempted bust from him.
Yeah.
And it failed. It didn't work out. And I thought, this is too bad because this could, you know, just become a pattern where it worked a couple times and he couldn't let it go and he kept doing it. But what he did in that last game was he denied the third base. He's really good at staying on top of the Zerg. I'd almost say he's better at being on top of Zergs in mid-game than any other Terran we have in the ecosystem right now.
I can't disagree with what you said, but I think there's a specific reason for why he's so good on being on top of Zergs. The builds he's choosing give him a little bit more in that mid-game, a little bit more flexibility to kind of be on top of those Zergs, but don't necessarily get into the late game as well as some of the builds some of the other Terrans choose, right? So there's always like a little bit of a give and take there. But he's definitely on top of that, right? Like he's done a very good job so far clearing things out. You know, he's obviously got the 3 wins, and it's most. The thing is, we haven't really seen him. If this gets to Hive, and herO hasn't taken massive damage, I don't know how Sharp wins that, because his play doesn't go towards that. So it does make me a little bit nervous. Like I'm like kind of holding my breath right now because it's 3-1. So I'm like, oh my god, am I going to get a Terran in the next round? Because I kind of like was resigned after yesterday. I'm like, damn it, it's just going to be 2 PVZs, and then, you know, who knows what it is from there. But it's going to be Tastosis' time to shine, right? I had all these Terrans in this tournament. I had so much potential to have Terran heavy games at the end, and it's not going to happen.
But it was going to be just Tasteless. No, it's going to be Tasteless and what's-his-face just talking about PVZ, just me explaining to you the matchup and the beauty of it. Look, I think you're a bit of a Sharp doomer. I think it's undeniable how good this guy is, how good he's always been. I think the fact that he's so... I mean, this is against herO, okay? This isn't against any other Zerg. I know I'm talking about the greats, okay? I'm talking about your Jaedong, your Queen. We've had so many great Zergs. They do get, you know, a black eye or two in the mid game. That does happen. herO never gets jerked around like this.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's kind of wild to see. We've had 4 games so far, 3 of them Sharp won by either sunken busting with a counterattack or denying the third base. It's kind of crazy. Now, in this game specifically, we have a really different build because Sharp has gone for gas first on 1 base. And remember, this is a map where you get 2 bases for free right away, which is, I can't emphasize what is more of a Zerg's dream than that.
Certainly the case, but there's only 3K per geyser. So for me personally, I like standard play for this map. Now, Sharp obviously has a different opinion, but I honestly think if you're going to win a macro game with Sharp's style, this is the perfect map to do it on. Just because they run out of gas so quickly from the additional bases, right? So like that's actually how you end up winning most of the time if you get to Hive. It's more about gas denial than it is about actually breaking anything because it's so hard to break defilers. And I feel like this is the key map to do that on because of how only the main bases have 5,000 gas in the geysers. Every other geyser is 3,000. So that's like, dude, you run out 40% quicker. So even though you have that additional gas at the beginning, if you just kind of play in a radiate-heavy game, I think it's really, really good on the map. But he's going for a tech build here. And it looks like it's going to be a Valkyrie Rush, but I'm not 100% sure. Oh, a Wraith. It's a very fast Wraith.
Yeah.
This is some old school
Wraith
stuff,
in
man.
the command center.
No one
yeah,
does that
very
anymore.
old school. No. Oh, this isn't going to work, right? Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit surprised. I thought he was going to block that completely. But, yeah, the Vulture gets out, and he's going to get a little bit of damage. But, yeah, he gets trapped. Okay, good surrounding there by herO. You know, Sharp, he's looking for that damage, man. He's looking for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of wild. Is that a second starport? No, it's an engineering bay. Okay. For a second, I thought, are we going to have, like, mass wraiths? I felt like normally we have players get the second starport faster. I don't really know what to make of what I'm seeing. I feel like I still don't understand the tech direction this is going in. You can kill the Overlords pretty quick. The Spire, I think, isn't even done yet. So you could end up with a good supply block. I think you can always get 2 Overlords with this. I could be wrong.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, because he went starport before the command center. So this is actually one of the oldest. Well, here's the thing. He's mixing it up. So it's a mixture of an old 1/1/1 where you defend with 3 Cloaked Wraith against Muta, and also just like a Wraith Rush, which is an extremely old build. Like I'm talking 2007, 2006. We used to occasionally see like a rush to 1 Wraith to kill some Overlords, and it was like a pretty decent build there, but it really, really fell off. And this particular type of 1/1/1 with like the 3 Cloaked Wraiths, this is from like 2018 or so. Like it's old. People don't use this anymore.
Yeah. There was even types of builds like this, like before that, but it was so... I mean, and I'm talking like the first couple years of the game. These sort of attempted Wraith builds, kind of 1/1/1 tech. A lot of times you'd expand later. It looked kind of weird. Wraiths were just really hard to deal with, honestly, in the early days of StarCraft, because Cloak was already kind of tricky, and Wraiths are pretty nimble. You know, especially for Zerg, you can kill Overlords pretty fast. But the build, you know, the idea of them and how they're used has evolved over time. They're always going to be part of the game. I'm really interested in why Sharp would go for this build on this map.
Yeah, me too.
I don't quite understand it. You know, you were just talking about how the second bases have a little bit less gas. Well, this is like Wraith with Cloak. It looks like into Science Vessel.
Yeah.
Probably get all of your barracks and everything out a lot later. So it just feels like it's a very gas-hungry build.
It is. It is. Yeah, I don't know. I guess he just wants to mix it up a little bit. I love the quick science facility. That's like really nice. And 3 Cloaked Wraiths, like... I don't know. It was mathed out a long time ago that you can just kind of block Muta with this. Now, he's actually going for a Queen. And we also see the Evolution Chamber. I wonder if... Oh, God, he's
going for more than 1 Queen. So it wasn't like there was a 1 Queen made so he could get ensnare. He's actually got 3 Queens. What? Now, keep in mind, by the way, herO, if he loses this game, it's over. So, like... That just this is the build you go for when everything's on the line.
You know what he's doing, actually? I figured it out. This is actually, he's going crazy Zerg. Tastosis, the strategy I made up.
Oh, Artosis, hold on, let me say it. It's crazy Zerg.
Yeah, I actually think he is, because I did see the quick evolution chamber, and I was like, that's kind of an interesting fast evolution chamber, I guess. Like, people used to use Crazy Zerg as a counter against 1/1/1 a long time ago. He does use that ensnare. Yeah. I gotta say, this does not look super good for... Okay, well, he clears those at least. Okay. But the Wraiths actually did a pretty damn good job.
Yeah, they got a lot of kills off.
Yeah.
All right, so it's going to be Queens made. The Wraith threat's gone, by the way. You don't go back and make 3 more Wraiths.
So it is going to be crazy Zerg. No lurkers, no defilers, just right into Carapace Ultras.
So many people have made fun of me on Twitter and on my stream for me thinking that you did this. The whole time I thought this was like your name for this.
No, man. I would never name anything.
I couldn't have been more wrong. Yeah, it's just the worst name strategy ever.
Yeah.
Now he's going to move out. So the idea is that you really simplify the game for yourself. Ensnare combined with like Ling Ultra, just surrounding you, crushing you is just so hard to deal with.
It is. And don't forget his Marine meta count is just going to be a bit lower this game because those barracks are being added really late. But to be fair, it's like a very quick science facility, so he can keep the upgrades going, right? Like he can get 2-1, probably lined up very closely with herO. Like maybe herO's Evolution Shaper was a bit quicker, so he'll probably have like maybe a 30-40 second window where he might have +2 carapace against +1 attack. And Sharp just has to be a little bit careful during that time. But we did see, right? Light played like basically a perfect macro game on this map against Sulky, and Sulky literally did nothing but make carapace upgrades and attack, move, and won. So, you know, that does make me a little bit nervous for Sharp.
So we should remember, you know, when we think about science vessels and how they beat defilers, the variables are a little bit different here. So like with a defiler, a lot of times it's irradiated before it can consume a Ling and then get a useful Dark Swarm off in time. A lot of times when you see that happen, like the vessel will loom over the hatchery, get the defiler, it might make like 1 Dark Swarm on top of the lurker that's there. This is really different because if you irradiate a queen, it could ignore you and still ensnare all your Marines.
Very true. It can also,
like you don't have it. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, you can utilize Parasite a little bit here, too. Like, you know, if the queen's about to die or something. And you don't, even if you see a queen, you don't really start Restoration. Like, you can get it. It's not that expensive.
Right.
But, like, a lot of times you just kind of skip it. It is 100 and takes a while. But that can be kind of an annoying thing as well. They can keep track of you. And you can see that the queens right now are mostly scouting. This new queen tech is really good, by the way, when you're going for this crazy Zerg style, because if you scout with it and you see they're going for tank push, you could just research spawn broodling, because he's getting the queen really early. Like, you could have the energy for spawn broodlings. Like,
100%.
That's and like the thing is, tank push against crazy Zerg isn't very good because it's 100% all, and you have to win literally exactly the push. Oh, I just heard Restoration.
He's Restoration.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't see it. I was actually looking into your doe eyes. Looking into your glazed over, I can't believe I have to cast a long Terran vs. Zerg eyes. But I heard the Restoration.
I can't believe Tastosis named it Crazy Zerg. He put his stamp of approval on it. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
Now, he's moving out on the map. He's got these buildings floating here so that he can try to soak up Scourge shots. He also has D-Matrix. That's kind of wild. You can get EMP, by the way, to hit the queens.
Yeah, if there's a bunch
that's one way to deny it. I almost wonder if that's what the move he's going for right now. The Ultras are going to come down. Queens are on the move here.
Sharp was a little bit spread out there. You really want it more of a ball. All of his medics kind of far behind. But he gets back into a choke, so you can't... Like, when Sulky attack moved, it was not this tight of a choke. You have to...
Okay, does he want to run away with these? Oh, my God.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he should have
He stayed for way too long.
Yeah.
That was insane.
That was not a good engage.
You want to lose all of these Ultras or maybe just save a couple? Wow.
This is a weird game, man. We're watching a really weird one right now.
Really crazy one. Scourge out. I like that this science facility is just, he's going to go over to where that expansion is. He can move it even a little bit further so when a drone comes, he lands it and denies the hatchery. The Marine medic count that he has is really good. He's got 2-1.
That's so funny that the science facility is this far out on the map, right?
Yeah, that doesn't
actually
feel right.
It's
Yeah,
an
you
important
need
building.
that's your tech for your most important building in the game. By the way, for those of you who are going to ask, should you hit that with Scourge? No.
No, it's
The
way
amount
too
of Scourge
expensive.
there's basically never a moment in this game you will want to hit a building with Scourge. It's not cost efficient. Oh man, the angle here is kind of crazy. He's going to be able to surround this. And I feel like there might be just enough here for the Zerg where he can win this fight. Like, barely.
Barely.
Yeah.
Like, he would have probably crushed the fight if he hadn't taken that really bad engage and sat there for a while in front of the natural, but he does end up clearing that army. And as soon as you lose an army against Crazy Zerg, it is a very uncomfortable position because it's all about having a critical mass of the Marines where you have so many that the surrounds don't really work and the DPS coming out is too much for the surface area that the Ultras and Lings have on you. So, like, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer about this game, but after losing that engage, I think herO can walk away with this pretty easily. Like, I think Sharp needs to figure out something special here, whether that's... I honestly don't know what it is, because I see people trying to figure it out, especially after the Light Sulky series, where Sulky smashed him with Crazy Zerg a bunch of times. But, like, for instance, you can't just go BCs against this. It's too slow. You can't just go Spider Mines, because then they expand everywhere, right? Spider Mines are inherently defensive. BCs are too slow to go against Crazy Zerg. It's been tried a lot, and it just does not end up working. You know, in other situations where it's a regular game, like, you can mix in some battle cruisers and they can do well. But this is like a rush to Ultras, and as the Ultras come out, Zerg expands everywhere. Look at the right side of the map. He's made a hatchery in every base on the right side of the map. So
it
it's
just
like,
seems like the way that...
Yeah.
Sorry, just the way this map is shaped, it just seems like you want to go for this, you know, this tech. Just skip lurkers altogether and get right to the difficult part for the Terran. You know, it's hard for the... Because the Terran is just... It's like the mid-game is taken away from the Terran on this map. You don't have any opportunity to try to deny the third base.
True.
I think it's why we saw the weird Wraith opening. I think it's why we saw the Vultures try to shove into the main. Weren't able to do that much damage, but I think the idea was to try to get something done, because if not, yeah, you get into this late game, and Ultra Crackling is just so hard to fight.
And actually, there's a lot about it, this strategy for this map that makes sense. I'll talk about that afterwards, though, because we have mass irradiate on these Ultras that are running up, trying to get an engage. Sharp has so many units back here. If he's in that choke, I don't think you can engage. That is a huge amount of Marines. But actually, this strategy makes perfect sense, because the way Crazy Zerg plays is you go Crazy Zerg off of 3 gas, generally, and then when you hit your power spike of chitinous plating and +2 carapace, then you mass expand, right? So it's skipping the gas run-out period that Muta into Lurker into Defiler has. Like, with that strategy, you're like looking for the 4th gas so that you can get some map control and get into your Ultras anyways out in the map. But this is just like, okay, I have the power spike, I mass expand, and now we have so many Ultras before the gas runs out that Terran kind of can't do too much.
Yeah, you're able to get that power spike in time to both control the map like this and expand everywhere. And is Terran barely going to win this fight? No, there's a couple more Ultras here. It's funny because when you see the damage spread, you see like so many red and yellow Ultras, but it's just enough. You know, a huge part of the damage is from the Adrenalings.
Yes.
Like, when you get this around, there's just no way for the medics to heal everything at once.
The irradiates as well. Like, the irradiated Ultras deal a lot of damage to those Marines. Sharp is pretty dead. Like, this is kind of how Crazy Zerg games go. If you lose one army, you never quite get the critical mass that you need to beat the Ultras again. And, yeah, you can see, like, it's kind of wild, right? He's just attack moving not necessarily the best engagements from herO, but math is on his side.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's at the point where the real story is that Terran will never get a 4th base. It's almost impossible to set up a 4th base, so you kind of just wait. You can let the map play itself out. The main's almost mined out.
Sorry for the little jump, guys. Corrupt video file strikes again. But right now, you can see that science facility being attacked by these mutas. As Sharp having a really hard time getting a big enough army And, like, I mean, the other times it didn't work. His main is mined out. His natural is mined out. His third is going to be mined out. And herO is on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases. Oh, man. Sharp is the deadest ever right now.
Yeah, he's going to try to move out one more time. He probably knows this isn't likely to work, but, like, what is he supposed to do, right? He's going to send this out. You can see the ultras, the lings. There's just too many. Once you get this around here, the damage just starts to really compound. And once more, this entire infantry army is going to get wiped out. There's only one mining base right now for Sharp, and due to the structure of the map, there's no way he can really expand anywhere without ultras and lings just running him over.
Well, I think we'll be seeing GG from Sharp here really, really shortly. He knows that he's quite dead, and I wonder if this is going to shake him at all. It's a tough map, man. It's a tough map. He used like a really teched out build. It felt like he had a bit of an advantage, but herO just rolled with the punches. I actually, between the Sulky game against Light and now herO here, like I always think this strat is good, but actually I think that what they've figured out is on this map, the way that the gas runs out is bad for Defiler, but for Ultra, it's no problem at all. It's as if it does. It's as if you have 5K geysers. It doesn't even matter because you can, like that's how it's played. Is you hit your spike and then you mass expand. Whereas with Defiler, it's a long, drawn-out process. So makes perfect sense for Kickback. I honestly think they solved the map in ZVT.
It really feels like it. Like the more games we have on here, the more obvious it is.
Yeah.
It seems like if Terran wants to approach it, they have to play outside of the box.
I think so.
And I don't know what that is going to be exactly. I don't feel like you can make racks in the middle of the map and rush. I don't think you can go mech necessarily. I don't know. I don't know, but that's why we bring these maps into the circle of the map pool, is to see what kind of games they create, what can we learn from it. And speaking of crazy maps, now that we're talking about crazy Zerg,
finally,
we're going to go to Monty Hall.
Oh, I'm so happy we're going to Monty Hall, Tasteless. This is a map that we haven't really seen that much of, right? Like this is a map that gets dodged by most people, but here we are late in a best of 7, Sharp versus herO. We're on match point here, still for Sharp, going into set 6 on Monty Hall.
We are magic in the air. We are love, we are care. We are here for the ride. Trying to fun side by side.
Okay, on to Monty Hall we go. Sharp in the top left, herO in the bottom right. Guys, we're going to do one final plug because this could be the last game. We don't know between these two. Consider signing up for the Patreon. Patreon.com/ASL English. I know it's the SSL. We're still using the name ASL for now. I don't know if they're going to keep this name for next year. I'm kind of surprised they changed it to SSL. Anyways, guys, we love you. We appreciate the support. What you guys have done has been incredible, and it's helped us keep this alive. We want to do this forever. I think if you're watching StarCraft 1 now, you're not thinking about getting out of it next year or the year after that, right? The games have been better than they've ever been. And, you know, I got to say, by the way, the maps have been great this season, too. I think they did a great job with that. Anyways, point in case, consider signing up. If you've been meaning to do it and you're thinking, yeah, I'm going to do that, but you know, finish the VOD and go to something else, consider signing up. We would be so grateful. And thank you, everybody who's already done so.
Thank you very much, guys. And yeah, that would be funny if they changed the name again. What would they turn it to next, though? Maybe the CSL, Crazy Zerg StarLeague?
The crazy. You know what's funny about it is there was already SSLs before it.
2.
We're like,
yeah, Spo TV StarLeague and Sonic StarLeague. That's what's so funny is like.
That's what's. I'm just like. I mean, I get the rebranding, but I'm also just like, huh. I mean, can we get another letter in the alphabet? I don't know.
Yeah.
So, look, this map, just to get into the game, it is what we call a semi-island map. You are isolated from your opponent by land, but through minerals that can be mined out pretty quickly, you can get pretty fast access. There's 3 lanes. It's almost like it's a mirrored Dota or League of Legends map here, where you have this middle lane, the bottom left lane, the top right lane. And you don't know which side your opponent's going to mine out, which is a kind of interesting factor when you look at the map itself. Is like you could have a game where the Terran would expand towards the base to the right of where Sharp is, but herO expands to the base to the left, which means they're still not able to reach each other by ground. Conversely, you could have a game where maybe you both take the middle and suddenly you're in a land map where you're clashing right in the center. So I think this is a really tough map, even for the best players in the world to play on. It's certainly not one I'm interested in learning anytime soon because of the difficulties in just trying to master it. And by the way, we're going to have exactly that. It looks like he's going to send one SCV over here to the side.
Well, he's going to scout with that, but this is going to be...
mind. Yeah, you're right.
This is going to be a 2-starport Wraith build. Sharp actually has put so much focus onto his gas. I haven't seen a build like this in like 6 years or so. He has actually gone gas first. So he has about 100 more gas than you normally have at this point. So he's going super heavy into the Wraiths.
Yeah, and you never, ever go gas first.
No.
The game would let you do it, but nobody ever does it because all of our games are on land maps. And so the idea here is
Holy crap.
It's 3 starports. So the fact that he got the gas that early, he's going to have 3 Wraiths maybe so fast that herO just isn't ready. He's not going to know what's going on. I have never seen 3 starports made in my life on one base like this.
Nope, never.
I've never seen it.
Like
I guess there really is a first time for everything 25 years after this game's been out.
Yeah, you can't really support Wraiths in that way. Like one geyser doesn't keep 3 ports going forever.
But here's what happens, is he's going to have the first 3 Wraiths out because he's going to have 300 gas.
Yes.
He'll get that out. And what that could do is just tip the scale.
Yeah.
It's possible that the way that herO looks at the game, he thinks, or he's probably used to 2-port Wraith. He's played against 2-port Wraith his whole life. By the way, the 3rd Wraith just started, so it's even a little bit staggered. 2 come in, but the 3rd one, and then the 4th one after that, and then the 5th, that's going to be where it might snowball the game. It's possible that Zerg has not calculated how much of a threat this could be. And it's all because you can go gas first on maps where you start, isolated from each other.
Kind of
islanded positions.
It's kind of a brilliant one-use strategy, really. Like 3 Wraiths flying in, you're totally right. This is going to catch him off guard big time. You're used to 2, 50% more damage immediately. But again, he can't keep it up forever. Like, maybe he can make 2 rounds of 3 Wraiths. But look at this. He's going to even split them off a little bit and kill multiple Overlords. This is so smart from Sharp. This feels like something that might be able to, like you said, tip the scales and maybe allow him to win this game very quickly.
Well, Zerg's already supply blocked. And you've got 3 more Wraiths in production. He does manage to save that one by throwing an Evo chamber down here. You know, burrow would have been handy to have here, but of course, how would you ever know? Once again, an Overlord's killed. Now, there's enough supply here that he can actually make mutas at this point in time. But we have 3 more Wraiths inbound. I don't think there's been any cloak. I don't see an add-on as far as I can tell by looking at the mini-map. He's killed a ton of drones.
He has done a lot of damage.
Okay, the Scourge are out. Now, you can control Wraiths like mutas. I don't know how good Sharp is at that.
Yeah,
we're kind of learning that in real time.
He's actually a player I never see go for this. So he's definitely not one of the best Wraith controllers out there. Players like Bishop and Leda can actually, they would kill you from this position, but this is not something Sharp does very often. Now, by the way, Burrow is done, so he can start saving drones. Yeah, there you go. Nice Burrow goes down. There's a lot of Scourge out. This might backfire. I actually thought Sharp was about to go to the round of 4 with the amount of damage he got with the first 3 Wraiths. But with this many Scourge out and his Wraith micro being a little bit questionable, I'm not so sure anymore.
Well, we got to see if the Scourge connect. You do group these with a trapped SCV, by the way, just like you would put an Overlord in the group, or when you see Protoss trap a probe to put a Corsair in the group. Okay, decent control. You know, the spacing of these Scourge is not very good. Oh my god.
Wow.
I think herO's dead.
He might be.
I think that's it. because now, yeah, he's going to be almost two-shotting mutas. When the next Wraith or two gets in here, he will be able to two-shot them. He actually aborts the 2 eggs that are over the position that he's basically been generating threats at. I feel like he could press for more damage. I feel like Sharp's almost playing like too cautious here.
Maybe. Is he actually getting out? I don't think so. I think what he's doing right now is like, I think he got his factory add-on. So
I don't know.
Maybe he wants to transition from here.
Well, the problem. Oh my God. I think he can just kill him. Is there a Spore? Oh, I didn't realize there was actually Spore tech. I saw it cancel Evo earlier.
Yeah, he just finished that Evo in the main.
Does the Spore finish with less HP?
No, it has the same HP.
Okay. That's just a sunken colony. Well, I mean, this is over, man.
This is over.
I mean, there are no more mutas in this game. He did manage to finish a Spore, but it's in a... Oh, my God. He's just going to shoot the Spore down. You don't see Wraiths killing Spores every day. Whoa! He wins. I hope we can capture him.
Dude, that was awesome.
A replay of that. He exploded in his chair. He is so happy. Talk about a tense moment. It looked like, okay, I've got it. This is a unique position. He's probably never played in a tournament before.
Yeah.
Probably having to feel it out. Probably having to practice that strategy in private. This is the biggest upset of the round of 8. This is the biggest upset of the season. This is huge. I can't believe it.
Wow. Couldn't be happier for him. This was really well done. Right? He had a couple sunken busts. He had a third denial into stopping a Ling Muta all in. And he had a completely novel 3-ports Wraith build. This was
I've never seen 3 ports on one base.
No, never seen it.
We're still seeing new stuff. I mean, when you say it out loud, it makes perfect sense. You just get a gas first and make 3 ports, and you're barely sustaining it. Like, there's always going to be one starport that's like, for a little bit of time not making, and every once in a while all 3 are making. And it was just enough damage that herO's never dealt with it before.
Yeah, very, very cool stuff. If the Scourge had hit a little bit better, maybe we'd be going into a game number 7 right now. But Sharp did it, man. He made it through. I really was not believing in him. I'm so happy to be proven wrong. And that gives us Tastosis the perfect balance. Thank you, David Kim, in the round of 4.
I mean, what a story. And honestly, it's hard to not want Sharp to go the whole way. This was, he had gone from being one of the great Terrans to kind of falling into the background, occasionally moving back deep into an ASL and then kind of fading back out. He has brought the prep. He brought some great control. He's had a very technical TVZ mid-game here, which is going to be essential moving forward as Sulky is still the biggest threat. The fact that herO's playstyle is very similar to that of Sulky's. By the way, what you just see there, if you take damage as you're burrowing, you'll unburrow unless you're a lurker. So that's what that is.
That's right.
But this is so cool, like what he did. I am so impressed. We're going to have an interview with him. I couldn't be more happy to see him advancing. And now we've got our final 4.
And that does it for the last round of 8 match of 2024 SOOP StarLeague Autumn, as Sharp, the pride of Terran, is our 4th semi-finalist. Congratulations. Thank you. Loud cheers from your colleagues and the fans alike as you're congratulated on making the round of 4. How do you feel? So good. I'm happy to advance off the back of TVZ that used to be my weak point. You said TVZ is like the homework that you need to finish before reaching your peak in this StarLeague. So, defeating this strong Zerg and herO in a best of 7 in the round of 8 must carry a lot of meaning. You beat him after he took you down in the round of 4 last season. So, taking down herO like this must mean a lot to you personally. In any case, I am still developing, I'm still growing, and versus Zerg hasn't been going as well. It gave me something to think about. But the fact I approached preparing for this tournament with an air of confidence, that was the right call.
오늘 뭐 첫 세트 판테온에서부터 조기석 선수의
That
자신감을
confidence
좀
shone
느꼈던 것
through from the
같습니다.
first set on
마린을
Pantheon
굉장히
onwards
처음부터
as you were very
공격적으로
aggressive
활용하는
with your
플레이들이
Marines in the
1세트
early
모두
game in sets
나왔는데요.
1 and 2.
이런 건
Was this
자신감에서
style
기반된 거
rooted in your
아닐까요?
confidence?
일단은 제가 맨날 두루뭉술하게
I used to
게임을
be
했다가 오늘은
irresolute in how I played.
확신을 가지고
Today,
했었어요.
I chose to be
왜냐면은
decisive.
항상 두루뭉실하게 게임을 하다 보니까
Playing indecisively
이게
like
갈등할 때
I would,
이게
not
적으들한테
knowing if
이러면
I
안
should go or
되는데
not, doesn't work in
거기서
TVZ like it does in TVP.
소수전처럼 하고 있는 거예요. 그래가지고 오늘은 좀 그냥
So
확신을
just
가지고
being sure,
막상 공격
if I
가면은
attack
막히면 뭐
and get
어쩔 수
stopped,
없지.
well, that's just how it goes.
내
But
판단을
just trusting my own
생각해봤지만
judgment,
좀 잘 됐던
that was
것
the right thing to do here.
그런 확신에 근거한 플레이가
Makes me think if this
오늘 역전승을
decisiveness
여러 번
is what let
만들어낸
you
게
come
아닌가
back from being
싶습니다.
behind to win a few times today.
저그 앞마당에
In the second set on Radion 2, the
직전에
decision to attack right before these Sunkens were finished in the natural of the Zerg let you get a reversal win.
그때 역시 이거
Were you
집중하지
thinking at
말자,
that point,
두루뭉술하게
don't
하지
fumble this,
말자라는
don't
좀
be
생각이
indecisive?
깊게 드셨나요?
아, 네, 딱 스캔을 때려보고
I saw the
싶은
Sunkens being built with a scan,
예전 같았으면 아, 빼자,
and back in the
이렇게
day,
생각을 했었을
I would have
텐데
been like,
내가
let's fall
능력이
back.
있고 내가
But I
이미
had the
나왔기
army,
때문에
I was already
여기서
out and
물러설
about,
수가 없다.
there is no turning back from here.
해보자라고
I thought,
생각
let's
들었는데
try
그게
it,
잘 통했던
and it
것 같아요.
worked.
아 정말 여러 번 시행착오 끝에
It took
조일장
herO
선수가
a
어떤
while to
깨달음을
realize
얻은 것
what's
같다는
happening after a few
느낌도
trials and
드는데요.
errors.
4세트
In the fourth
대전에서도
set
그래서
on
좀
Deja Vu,
역전승이
once again,
멋지게
a
나왔던 것
beautiful
같습니다.
reversal for you.
저그의
You defended the
끝까지
Ling
저그의
Muta all in
우리를
with turrets.
터렛으로 막아냈어요.
네.
사실 그때도 초반에 마린
After your Marines got blocked in the early game, it seems the decision to overbuild turrets yielded a good result.
아무래도 제가 박았다 처음에 이제
The first
공격을
time I left my base, I got
맞고
stopped
나서
in a
일장형
foolish
입장에서는
manner.
아, 이제
herO would have been
끝났다라고
thinking that it's
생각하고
over, and just to keep pressing with Ling Muta,
것 같아요. 근데 저는 그거를 오히려
I think it was a good bait from me.
조기석 선수의 특유의
This
나가오기
baiting
플레이가
play of
사실
yours
마지막
came out in the last game on
몬티올에서
Monty Hall.
정말 일품으로
Really
나왔습니다.
excellent bait.
네.
이 레이스
3-star
컨트롤에
board.
자신감이 없었다면
It
이런
must not have
빌드를
been easy to
선택하기는
choose
쉽지
this
않으셨을
build
것
with
같은데요,
how little confidence you had in your raid control.
스타포트 하는 이미지가 아니에요.
Yeah, I'm not known for playing starboard. People know me for playing ground units.
오늘 계속
I
고민을
kept
많이 했어요.
mulling it
몬티올을
over what
무슨
strategy
전략을
to
해야
use on
될까
Monty Hall.
계속 고민을 많이 하다가 네, 예전에 제가 그
But sometime before, I was struck with inspiration, and I chose to use this
그게
build.
잘 오늘 먹혔던 것
Good
같습니다.
thing it
아무래도
worked.
기회다
It's
보니까.
a tournament after
어디서
all.
영감을 받으신
Where did you get this
빌드일까요?
inspiration for this
제가
build?
예전에 누구 이제
I think I saw this on Firebat Heroes YouTube some time ago.
아 이거 3스타
It inspired me with 3-star board. You know, this is almost like an island map, right? So with 3-star board, I will have exactly one shot. And it worked.
경기 전 인터뷰에서도 조일장
In the pre-game
선수는
interview, you
오늘
said
나 자신에게
you would focus on your own
집중하면서
play to
긴장감을
reduce the
내려놓고
stress,
부담을
reduce the
내려놓고
pressure.
플레이하겠다라고 말씀하셨는데 경기 후 승리 인터뷰를 또
In this
들어보니까
interview after your
조기석
victory, we
선수가
can feel this now as
얼만큼
well.
정말
Through
처절한
sufficient
준비 끝에
practice,
이런
you've
간절함을
put your
가지고
determination aside for a
내려놓고
moment to
경기에
focus on the
집중할 수
games.
있었는지가 좀 고스란히 느껴지는 것 같습니다. 4강 진출 확정
The
이후에
moment you
경기장에서
advanced
벌떡
to
일어나서
the
정말
round of
포효를
4, you
하셨는데요.
sprang to your feet in
그건 또 어떤
excitement.
기분이셨을지도
What was going
궁금해요.
through your head at that point?
시드 땄다는 것만으로
I was happy even if merely for the fact I secured a seed.
연속시즌 네.
Back-to-back seeds, right?
경기를 할 수 있다는
Right.
거에
And I was happy that I'll get to play another match.
아 그래도 이번에는 안
And that I did
떨어졌구나.
not get knocked out by a Zerg again.
좀 너무 많은 감정
I was just filled with a lot of emotions, and that's how I
네.
chose to express
또
them.
한 번의 경기를 펼칠 수 있음에
You said you are
감사하다라는
thankful to get to
말씀을
play
또
another
하셨는데
match,
다음 경기
and
상대가
your next
정윤종
opponent is
선수입니다.
Rain.
네네. 굉장히
Right,
잘하는
a
이번엔
fearsome
포항이더라고요,
opponent,
진짜로.
the Protoss
저도
Emperor.
다른 이제 대회에서 윤종이랑
I've played a lot against him in
많이
other tournaments, in the ASL as well.
있었는데, 이번에
With Protoss being a
저도
matchup
포스전을
I'm
또
particularly
좋아하는
keen on,
만큼 잘 준비해봐야
I'll
될
have
것
to
같아요.
come well prepared.
또 조기석 선수가 인정하는
Can't wait for this match between you and Rain, whom you are praising so. Your colleagues and the fans will likewise be looking forward to this round of 4 bout. What are you going to show?
일단 최선을 다해가지고 한번
I want to
멋진
do my best to have a cool performance.
네, 또 연습 도와준 동료분들,
And any words of
또
thanks for your
응원하는
colleagues
동료분들
who helped you
팬분들께도
practice,
감사
cheered
인사
for you,
전해주시죠.
as well as the fans?
일단은 제가 이제 중만이가
Right, so
이제
Jungman from
중만대
our team,
중만이가
Jungmande,
왔을 때 제가
whenever he shows up,
기쁘더라고요.
my win rate is
진짜
100%.
무엇보다 우리 중만이한테
So I'm
정말
first and
고맙고
foremost
중만대
thankful to him,
멤버들한테도 너무 오늘
and
항상
our
그냥
Jungmande members.
기죽지 말라고 이렇게
They always
응원하시는데
tell me,
너무
don't feel
감사하다고
small about yourself. You got this, they say. So thanks for that. And for helping me practice Sulky,
준호,
Action, Killer,
예훈이 형,
Saxry,
제동이 형.
and Jadong. Thank you for being diligent and helping me.
그리고
And now my wife,
와이프가
You know, when I practiced, my results were not good. She helped me gain confidence. She said, even if you go into a tiger's den, as long as you keep your wits about you, you can survive. I want to thank her for telling me these things. Looking forward to another great showing from you in the round of 4. Congratulations on making the semi-finals. Thank you, thank you. And that does it for our interview with SHARP, the last standing pride of Terran this season.
One of my favorite days yet, man. Congratulations to SHARP. You know, it's kind of insane to see herO lose like that.
Yeah.
We just never have games like that. And I don't think it's the herO's really fallen off on his, you know, stability in the mid game. I think SHARP brought a whole bunch of new approaches to very conventional ideas. I think a lot of games he zigged when other people would have zagged. Knew when to try to go for busts. Also, most of the games knew when to pull back out. I love the closer with the 3 starport with gas first and a 3 starport and a 3 wraiths, because it kind of shows another building block he's added on to his play. You know, a super one-time use build to win. Guys, up next week, the craziest Final Four ever. We're gonna have Snow versus Sulky, and then Rain versus SHARP.
Dude, that is so exciting. That is so exciting. There's so many possible finals that we could have that would be absolute madness. Like, every single possible finals here is excellent, with an excellent storyline as well. And, like, even the fact that SHARP beat herO, like, herO and Sulky are very similar levels. Very similar. I would give Sulky an edge there, but, like, he has potential there. SHARP has one of the best TVPs in the world, and he actually, even during Snow's prime, where Snow was like 90% wins against Terran, SHARP was one of the guys beating him most often out of everybody. So, like, he can do that, he can do this. I don't know what's going to happen this season, Tastosis. I could see all 4 of these people becoming the champion.
Yeah, and, you know, this is just such an unusual pairing with these two, Rain and SHARP. There's a lot of imaginable duels in the top 4 that you could, you know, think, okay, who could it possibly be? Who's on top? I never thought we'd see these two, maybe one of them, but both of them going at it like this is really exciting. So we're either going to have Rain or SHARP in the finals. 2 players, by the way, that have really had a lot to prove lately in the last couple of years. You know, we had Rain, who completely choked in his previous ASL final. We had SHARP, who in the past was in an ASL final and has played really well, but kind of fell behind. And so both these guys are going to be very hungry to take this all the way.
No, it is a big deal for SHARP because his finals was Season 1 against Shuttle, right? So that was before everyone kind of got into good shape again. It was Season 2 that Flash started to take over. So, yeah, it's a big deal. And if he can make it to the finals, that's huge for him. Dude, Snow still doesn't have a championship, and we know he needs one. He deserves one, so I can't wait. I don't have any idea what's going to happen in these matches.
It's, with 3 of our 4 players, it's going to be a crazy Cinderella story of finally overcoming the past and changing history forever. And then if Sulky actually manages to take it, that would be his 3rd StarLeague victory in a row.
Yeah, and
so that would be insane.
That's like we're approaching Bonjour's status at that point. It's pretty wild. And Rain
he do it here. He might do it again. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Artosis.
Don't forget, we might get a rematch as well. Snow versus Rain is a previous ASL finals where Rain was able to just knock Snow down, and that was before Snow really peaked as well. So. Yeah, there's actually so many possibilities.
Forgot about that.
Yeah,
I forgot about that as a possibility. That's right. Crazy. We could actually have a PvP finals here, which we never have for the StarLeague. Artosis, any closing thoughts before we end the show?
No, man, that was great. It was a great day. I'm really happy for SHARP. It's funny that herO were like. That's a big disappointment for herO. Only the round of 8, but I'm sure we'll see him back next season. Very, very strong as always.
Guys, thank you so much for watching us. Please sign up for the Patreon if you have not already, and we'll see you next week. We love you. Bye-bye.